What is up, everyone? Welcome to the No Life Tech Podcast, Tech and Gaming. How's everyone doing? Sorry we were off last week. I've been so busy lately and wasn't able to make last week, so we postponed the show. But today we got a jam-packed show for you. Tons and tons of news, tons of new products, tons of new games. It's going to be a good one. Tune in. Make sure you follow us over on our website at nolife.digital, as well as on our Twitter at nolifedigital. You can follow me personally over at WayneWalkerOrg on Instagram and Twitter. Follow us for updates and stuff. Not only that, but we also created a Reddit. You can go to Reddit r/nolifedigital. And I just recently started posting up there, but I think what I'm going to do is all the articles and links from the shows are going to go onto this subreddit, so you can check out all the links right there. You can submit your own links. The thing with this subreddit in particular is I want it to be dedicated more towards links. Like, I don't want a lot. You can post opinions, but I want more of the opinion stuff to be in the comments of the links. So post links on any sort of news, tech news, whether it's gaming news, anything in that sort of realm, and you'll see the style of post that I'm talking about. Anything that sort of interests you or things that you think will interest us, the co-hosts, or others in the No Life community, post them up on the subreddit. That is going to be the hub for the community, as well as the website being the hub for the content itself. So you have the website, nolife.digital, and then the subreddit at r/nolifedigital. So that's it. And then our Discord, and you can hang out in our Discord in the chat room. There's a lot of people in the Discord. They don't really use it, but we haven't done a good job of promoting it. So we're going to try our best to get that going. And you can see here on the subreddit, all the links are right there on the right. You have the website, our Twitch, our YouTube, our Twitter, and our Discord. If you ever need links, just head over to r/nolifedigital, and it should be a fun time over there. All right. What's up, dudes? How was your weekends? How was your Game of Thrones? You guys enjoyed it?
Sure. If you want Game of Thrones, I started doing, along with Colt and Doobie here, and sometimes Josh, a spoiler show after the episodes on Sundays.
Yeah, don't watch it if you haven't seen it. I haven't seen not even 1 minute of that show.
I try to make it very obvious that it's the spoiler show, but who knows? It's fun. It's fun doing that.
If you want. How was the episode? Good?
It was an episode. Otherwise, go to the spoiler show.
It was a thing. I'm glad that it's almost
Were there
over.
any more coffee cups?
Maybe. Actually.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, God.
It wasn't actually a coffee cup, but there was some other little weird things that happened in that episode.
If I saw that, I would fucking leave the show. I would never watch the show again. Did they fix it?
Yeah.
Yeah, they
fixed it.
Thank God. Man, that guy probably got fired, huh? The set designer, they left a fucking Starbucks cup in this.
He got fired from the show that's already over and completely done.
I hope they fucking drag his name through the mud. Maybe he did it on purpose as like a gag. He's like, probably put it there like, no one's going to find this. No. I don't think they had recyclable cardboard back in the day. New games. I've been playing 2 new games. MordWho is one of them. I know you were talking about how you wanted to play MordWho. I picked it up. Not really. I have like a 2-minute clip here. I'm not even going to play it. But it is the worst game I've ever fucking played in the best way possible. It's so bad.
That's kind of what I thought.
It's so bad. The combat is the worst combat mechanic ever. But because it's so bad, you actually do need a certain level of skill of like knowing the engine, and then you can get kind of good at it. So there's this weird reward thing that happens when you play it, because there is like a skill gap that you want to overcome, but it's just they chose the worst sort of combat mechanic ever. It's all based on, I don't even know how to explain it. They call it the 270 degree combat mechanic, and you have a upright attack, a side attack. They're all like very heavy weapons. Well, some of them are heavy weapons, so they swing and they take a really long time to swing, which will leave you open to attack. There's like a stab, and then there's a kick, and then there's different weapons that kind of have different variations of that, and then there's like spears and stuff, crossbows and longbows and stuff, and it's so janky and it's so poorly done, but there's something like fun about it, and I've been playing a lot of it.
Did they ever fix like leveling up or like getting rewards or anything?
I don't
like
know.
that?
I don't know. I don't know how it was before.
Well, okay, when you finish a battle and you get experience, do you actually level up?
Yeah,
Because when it first came out, the bar would completely fill. It would hit level 2 and then reset to level 10 every time.
No, that they fixed that, I guess. That's not a problem. There's a lot of like different skins. Like you can change the skin of your sword's handle, the sheath, the blade. There's all types of skins, all types of fun little unlockables, and they do a pretty good job of giving you enough money where you don't really have to buy microtransactions. Like everything's pretty cheap. The game's $30 itself. Do I recommend it? I really don't know. I don't know how long I'm going to be able to play this game. It's kind of fun. I think some people will enjoy it. I don't know if it's $30 or $30 though.
Exactly. It's like if you really like the weird chivalry style, it's kind of cool, but it's one of those games where like I'd feel more comfortable if it was $20 just because of how fucking janky it is.
Yeah, it's super. If it was $20, I could recommend it. $30, it's like there's a lot of really good games at $30, and this is not one of them. It's just so janky and
but it's
weird.
Fun. It's fun as shit.
It is fun. I think it would be worth $30 if there was a lot more unlockables. There's already a lot, but that's what's going to allow more. That's what's going to incentivize you to play it right now, because there really is nothing else. There's no like extra skills that you can do or that you can unlock. They give you all the skills, and then you just have to pick between them with a point. So you start off with like 15 points, and then like a level 3 helmet is 3 points, so on and so forth. And then it's all about just learning the weapons and learning how to play the game. And then once you kind of get it down, it becomes fun because then you can just like rip through these armies. But there's never, because the combat mechanic is so janky, it's like as soon as you get to a 2-on-1 with 2 people who are competent and they know how to play the game, you're never going to win that battle. And that's the problem with the combat mechanic. It's just so inherently broken that you really just have to like kind of find these one-on-ones in these massive scale battles in order to win.
But at the same time, that's kind of realistic to an extent.
Yeah, it is.
Like, sorry, old school combat definitely isn't like Game of Thrones and every other, fantasy show where it's like, I'm going to cut through 80 dudes on my warpath. It's like, no, you're probably going to fight one dude, then get stabbed and die, and that's it. You're done.
Yeah. No, it's definitely realistic in that manner, but it also, it's not that fun, Like I wish they can figure it out.
A little bit more arcade.
Yeah, I wish they figured out where you can at least get through a 2-on-1 if you're good. You know what I mean? If you're good at the game, maybe at least get through a 2-on-1. So you got to be really on point. And you can, like, you obviously can, but if you're playing against people who know how to play the game, then you're just going to get ganked. Someone's going to run behind you, and there's just no way to block behind you at all. So I wish there was a little bit more of that. I wish there was just a better way to figure that out. Because if that were the case, then, the combat would be sped up a little bit more.
Like a good party system or something like that. Because that's one of the issues, too, is where it's like, if you could make like a little party or guild or something, it would be a little bit better or more realistic of like, you're fighting as 5 people versus 5 people or something, not like you're one dude and 32 just running all over the map trying to win.
I will say I played this one match where these 2 guys, I guess they were in the same clan or something, and I don't know how they were communicating, but they dominated the entire game. I mean, there were like 50 kills and like 2 deaths. It was insane.
No, you could totally do that like it's Battlefield. The issue right now is there's not really like a party system. So like I've had friends where it's just like everyone's in a Discord or a TeamSpeak server, and they all join the same server, but half of the
Yeah.
people are on one team, half of them are on the other. Like they don't know who's what or where. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So you're also just talking like, oh, where are you at? No, where are you at? We should 1-1.
Yeah. But it's fun. I'm not going to deny. I've been having a good time with it. It's janky, fun. I hope they can figure out how to make it a little bit better. Like maybe a MordWho 2, they tighten up this combat mechanic. Because then I think there's something there. Like the whole swinging this, like the sword fighting thing is cool. And speaking of which, in the news, I actually have, because one of the things that I was thinking about MordWho, I was just like, maybe I should just go play For Honor, because I feel like they did it really, really well. Like the combat is so much better in For Honor, but it's a different sort of
weird, and it's
it's just different. It's just not really the same sort of game.
Well, no, that's what I was gonna say. It's not the same style of game almost to me, because For Honor combat has better aspects of it, and like the actual fluidity.
Yeah.
Like that feels better, but it is more of like a kind of more traditional fighting game where it's like, oh, if you just figure out a combo, you're just gonna win, and then you can just combo lock someone so they can't do anything.
Yeah, but also they did figure out like 2-on-1. So if you get 2-on-1 and you're good, you can get out of that very easily. Whereas MordWho, they're just different games. And I kind of want to go back to For Honor and just check it out and see how far it's come and to see where it's at. Because they're still updating it, and we have a piece of news here for it. We'll get into it in a little bit. But it just made me think like maybe I should just start playing For Honor again. Since this is kind of what I wanted to play. But if you want like janky medieval combat, very similar style to Kingdom Come, like how you swing the swords and stuff, then check it out because it is a good time. And then I was also playing Rage 2. I got it today, or I got it last night, but I started playing it today. And it is a game by Bethesda. And the first thing I want to say is that I've had nothing but issues with the game in terms of just how it's playing. It just does not want to run correctly. And I looked online, and it seems like a lot of other people are having the same problem. So if you are having issues with Rage 2, you're not alone. On PC specifically.
Are you playing it on PC?
Yeah, on PC.
Yeah, no, I was just to say, IGN scores are like 8 out of 10. 89% of people like this game. Steam, 60.
Yeah, it's a little bit...
That's a bad PC port right there.
Yeah, they didn't port... Like, there's a lot... It crashed today, just before the show. I was trying to get footage, and it crashed. So you're going to run into a lot of that. But all of that aside, it is really, really fun, and I cannot wait to get more into it. It's like a mix between Mad Max and Doom and Wolfenstein and Borderlands. So you kind of are thrown into this wasteland where this gigantic map where there's all sorts of like secrets and unlockables and crazy characters along the way, and you're fighting like these punk steam kind of dudes and mutants and stuff. And you're given these powers, and there's all sorts of different weapons that you can unlock. And the whole goal is to just cause mayhem and just rip through enemies and do these awesome combos. And I really, playing it again, I was like, I love this style of game, like this Wolfenstein Doom style first-person shooter. I mean, I can literally play all of them. Like, I love this style of game. It's like totally geared towards me. AAA. Just balls to the wall action, heavy metal playing in the background. You know what I mean? Give me all of the fucking powers. Don't let me think about reloading or anything like that. Just let me go nuts and give me like somewhat of a good story, and I will be engaged. And this does that, but also gives you this gigantic RPG-like world that is just sprawling with a bunch of interesting things. Granted, I'm only like a couple hours in. I'm not that far in. I don't know how long or how well it's going to hold up throughout its playtime, but so far, I've been having a really, really nice time with it. The voice acting's done really well. The graphics are excellent. It's actually a demanding game graphically. It was really like testing the limits of my computer. So if you are running under a 1080 or you're running like a 1070 or even in the 9 series, you're going to have to drop your graphics a little bit, especially on the PC since it's not as optimized as it should be. But it does look fucking gorgeous when you can really crank up the graphics and get things going. Here's the combat shotgun, which is a blast. They all have like there's like a main fire and then a secondary fire, which makes weapons fun. So you can combo different sort of things with like your main and your secondary with your powers and then your grenades. And I've been having a really good time. The only problem, like gameplay wise, that I've had is this part here. It's like the driving to me on PC is super clunky. And it's just because you really don't have a controller. Like you can't drive with a keyboard. And I wish they kind of did the Halo driving mechanic where you turned with your mouse. I think that would have made it a lot better. Because just turning with the WASD keys is just not fun. It just doesn't work the way you want it to. But other than that, it's a good time. You can just see like it looks really fucking good, man. It's a really cool game. $60. The story is kind of like super sci-fi, just like fantastical craziness. So if you're into that, you might enjoy it. Let me play some action here. I don't even know if I have any action scenes lined up for you. Let me see here. Here we go. Yeah, it's a game that's kind of been like talked about for a little bit and finally came out, and I don't know if it's gonna get the hype that it either deserves or the hype that it kind of needs, but I've been having a good time with it. If you like Doom, I feel like you're really gonna like this. Just think of Doom but with a gigantic open world, and then with Bethesda's sort of like story and characters. And then there you go. Then you have Rage, and then Mad Max with the driving stuff. So yeah, that's that. That is Rage 2. I will come back. I'm probably going to review this game. I kind of want to review it. I'm going to probably get a little bit deeper into it and then start drafting up a review, because it's one of these games that it's a single player game. So I think if you're looking for something like this and you want to know what I think about it and if you should play it, then hold out for a little bit before you check it out. And that's it. Have you guys been playing anything new or no?
I finally beat Horizon Zero Dawn.
How was it?
I enjoyed it. I didn't like fully complete everything. Like I didn't go to every single corrupted zone, but I did all the main side quests. I didn't do the DLC yet. I'm waiting. Now that I beat the game, I'm gonna finish off that. The story was decent enough. I enjoyed kind of where it went. It leaves enough mystery for more like games in the franchise. As far as the gameplay goes, definitely once I kind of like figured out what worked best for me, and because I did a lot of side quests and all the cauldrons, it was pretty easy at the end.
No, yeah. the whole game's easy.
It just becomes just a war of attrition.
No, it's fun.
Spamming potions.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun. It's an easy game.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I did like it. My favorite probably was the.
I feel like a lot of like big blockbuster games are pretty easy.
Yeah.
The only one that I can think of that was relatively hard was Sekiro, but that was kind of the whole game is kind of to be hard, you know.
Yeah. So I did really enjoy the second to last boss fight. Not boss fight, but like the battle where you're like essentially taking on the Horde.
Mm-hmm.
I thought that was really cool. Overall, like I give it a solid like 8.5 out of 10.
Did you find like a bunch of the secrets and stuff like that for the story?
I read and listened to a lot of the logs.
I thought the story ended up coming through pretty well, but yeah,
the story comes through well. The logs really kind of add in.
That's a lot of it.
Stuff, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like that stuff too.
Yeah, and they were really well done. I didn't mind the voice acting. It was a lot of the secondary characters that you really don't interact with much. You can kind of tell they hired people off the street for them.
No, they probably got the devs.
Yeah.
They got the IT guy.
But the main core of characters were pretty solid. And I look forward to seeing what they do with the franchise, especially because they leave it on like a teaser.
Well, you got to play the DLC too, but yeah.
Yeah. I still have to play the DLC.
They've already said they're working on a second one of some sort.
It definitely makes sense. And
they should keep that franchise going. It's an interesting world and thing they built.
Yeah, I mean, I liked getting near the end where even though, like, it was funny because, like, even though I know I could destroy these things and I have the resources to do so, it's still one of those things where you come across, like, a Thunderjaw and this thing is massive. you're like, I don't know if I want to fight that right now.
Did you feel like, because I thought what was really good about the game was that it made me want to finish it. Like, it made me want to go through. Did you feel the same, or did you kind of feel bored at the end?
I never felt bored. I was very intrigued, especially when like they give you the trail of breadcrumbs to like find out what Zero Dawn is.
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
then
I
it's
thought
like,
that was
oh,
done
okay.
so well, man.
It was.
Every time I thought I was coming to the answer, it's like, well, nope, you have to get this thing to now move to the next part to get the answer. Then you find out like the one character's background, and it's like, okay, he's got his own set of motives. That's interesting.
Yeah.
And then you have like, not the bad guy, because it's like one of the people from the past, but there's a scene where it's like, man, this character sucks.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
He makes bad decisions nonstop.
Every time. Yeah. Even though he's supposed to be like the smartest person ever in the history of the world.
Just let's not put in like let's make things that we can't defeat. Okay, you're an idiot. And then there's a scene at the end, like near the end, where
No spoilers.
no spoils, but like I'm just like, your decision making is really bad.
No, it is. Yeah, like I do know this is a 2-year-old game and it's probably been spoiled, but this is one of those. I don't know. They did such a good job. I don't want to spoil that game.
Easily worth the $20 I spent.
Would you say it's worth $60?
It probably is worth $60 if it had not come out at the same time as Zelda.
That's the thing. I mean, it's no Zelda, but for what it is, I had such a good time with it, man. It was really fun.
I don't compare. Like having played through both of them, I don't compare.
No, it was just the unfortunate timing of when it came out, and it's like if you're sitting there and you're like, well, I can only buy one of these, odds are you probably were gonna go and buy Zelda.
No, odds are you were gonna go buy Horizon Zero Dawn because you don't have a Switch, and no one had a Wii U.
You did.
Yeah,
I did.
I did.
You guys did.
I did.
Like I just mean like yeah. I think a lot of people did go and buy Zelda, but I think that actually almost helped Horizon a lot when it came out, just because everyone has a PS3 and they're not making enough Switches to even get them in people's hands.
Well, I got both of them, and then I wanted to play through Horizon first, just because it was a sort of more traditional style blockbuster game, and I was just like, I can breeze through this, and then it ended up being like, I kind of want to finish this, and it kept me along.
That's fair, because they are both open world games, but Horizon holds your hand direction wise a lot more.
Zelda was like more like, I'll pick this up here and there, play an hour, go through a couple of shrines, where Horizon was like, all right, I need to dedicate a couple hours, I need to see where the story's going.
Right. And then the other biggest things to me, why I don't compare them as much, Horizon's not an RPG to me.
No, I wouldn't call it an RPG either. I mean, it kind of is technically, but I know what you mean. It's
an action adventure. It has some RPG elements, but it's like none of the weapons are really different. They just have extra mod spots. Like that's it. That's all of the gear.
Or different ammo, but
yeah,
for the most
there's
part,
like 4 pieces of gear. It's more like an action RPG with like some very light RPG elements where Zelda is like, no, your weapon breaks.
I barely touched the Tripcaster.
Oh, that was like my favorite.
A little bit I touched the sling.
I never even bought the sling.
It was hardened arrows for human enemies, fire arrows for corruption, and then the precision arrows that break things off, as well as the other arrows that do like massive damage.
Yeah, like the other weapons.
I used everything, man. I
didn't use a lot of them. No, to me they were more specialized, where it was just like it wasn't like, nope, you're gonna play this style of character. It's like, no, you're gonna use this, but then you're gonna switch back to your bow.
Yeah,
and your bow is everything.
And so any other open world game, I even did it with Zelda, but I think Zelda gives you more of a reason not to. I started just using fast travel near the end.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Like at least in Zelda, if you're not fast traveling, you're still discovering more shrines. Zelda's a game that definitely wants you to explore a lot more, whereas
I would argue
Horizon has like you can explore, but you're really not gonna find all that much.
Yeah,
I kind of disagree.
No, there's things to find, but my big disagreement is I think they encourage fast travel and Horizon way more than Zelda.
Oh yeah, no, they definitely do.
And that's just because you don't have a mount unless you put in effort to find a mount. And like it will last for until you get to the next place and then be gone.
And in Zelda, even if you don't have a mount, if you can find a way to get just a little bit of speed and some height, you can just paraglide everywhere.
Yeah.
The movement options are definitely more in the favor of Zelda.
One thing about Rage that I didn't mention, but I should mention because we're talking about it, is that the world does feel super populated. Like you can find little nooks and crannies. Like there was one just like abandoned house, and it literally looked like just like a set piece. But you could actually, I heard like something blinking inside, and I just kind of searched around, and I was able to break through these broken boards that literally looked like it was just like a texture, and get into this house, and there was like this whole little story there. And I love that shit. I love like that when you go into you explore and you find like those really secret things like that just really don't add anything to the game, but it just makes you feel like there's just like endless stuff to look for. And for Horizon, I feel like there was a little bit, from what I remember, there was a little bit more of that than Zelda, where Zelda it was more like here's a shrine that you'll find, and a whole puzzle level that you can find, as opposed to just like little trinkets. Like there's like little pieces of like things that you can get to go get different armor sets in Horizon, and I thought that was pretty cool too, which made me kind of fast travel a little less. Plus, I just liked fighting, and I use the Tripcaster all the time to trip up monsters or robo dinos. All right.
I use it for the big stuff. That's it.
Let's get into news. Anything else?
One last thing.
Oh, go ahead.
I saw Detective Pikachu.
Okay.
Well, don't spoil anything.
Not gonna spoil anything. It's a pretty predictable movie, but that's not a bad thing.
Cassandra said it was awesome.
I mean, it's a Pokemon movie. It's gonna be predictable.
I enjoyed the movie. The twists and turns weren't really all that crazy. I kind of saw them coming, but it's not like a negative for me. The designs, like the visual work, the designs of the Pokemon, making me truly believe that this was like a world that I could imagine existing, was all spot on. It was the opposite of what Sonic is.
Sonic?
It made me, like, I watched it, I'm like, I could really see this being a city. I could see this being an ecosystem in which Pokemon and people live. All of the designs, I didn't see a single design I went, no, that one doesn't do it for me, or I don't think that's what they would look like in real life. They nailed it. They hit that out of the park.
What is the movie about?
It's like a typical, like, it's supposed to be like a noir style film where it's like a mystery, almost like a Who Framed Roger Rabbit.
Oh.
Pikachu has to find something. There's your plot, basically.
Pikachu lost his memory. He's teamed up with his partner who's gone missing. He teams up with his partner's son who has an emotional like disconnect with his dad, and in Pokemon in general.
Pikachu is voiced by Ryan Reynolds.
Is voiced by Ryan Reynolds,
and it never feels out of place.
It doesn't feel out of place. Most of the jokes land. There's some that don't, but it's Ryan Reynolds, so he's always spitting them off so quick that you forget the ones that don't. Pretty decent humor. The Pokemon were a good source of humor, and it's not because they do anything funny. It's because of the movie doesn't hold your hand, and it doesn't explain Pokemon to you. It gives you, the viewer, the understanding that we know you know what Pokemon are when you come into this movie.
That's cool.
It's kind of like how Spider-Man Homecoming did. It's like, we're not going to give you the origin story of Spider-Man. At this point, you should know.
Yeah.
So it's very much a movie for Pokemon fans. And that's not to say that if you don't know Pokemon, you're not going to enjoy it. But there are things where, like, they're not going to sit there and go, like, be like a Pokedex where, like, oh, this is a Pokemon named Exploud. And the whole thing with them is that they make sound with their mouths. Mm-hmm. They show it. They're in, like, this, like, fight club. And there's, like, a DJ playing. And when they open their mouths, they're, like, the speakers. And it's things like that that kind of show you what these Pokemon are through their actions.
Okay. Interesting.
And it's just really well done. You can tell it was made with love and care for the franchise, for like
There's a-
just the whole thing.
Yeah.
And I'm excited where they could now move in another direction. Apparently, they greenlit a Detective Pikachu 2, which I will say, the ending, I don't know how that works, but no spoils, of course. But does you know, like, could we get like a red blue game where, you know, we follow the adventures of Ash or Red or whoever they want to do it? Like, do we get a live action version with the designs they did? Sure, this totally sets it up. And for once, this was a video game movie that I can say was good.
Mm-hmm.
And that's not to say that like Mortal Kombat's not good. Mortal Kombat was bad, but it was good for other reasons. It's really good if you like campy crap.
Yeah.
You know, like that movie is bad, but it's also good. This movie is just good.
All right, cool.
So yeah, I definitely recommend go seeing it.
All right, getting into news. On May the 4th, speaking of For Honor, I came across this video on Reddit of these guys who are playing For Honor, and then all of a sudden they receive these crazy weapons and they proceed to freak out. And it's a pretty funny video because they all get these lightsabers. And they have no idea what's going on. They think the game like is hacked in some way.
What?
But
What is this?
in For Honor, there's essentially like a Star Wars event, which was pretty cool. And then when you watch it, I mean, they're just all fighting with these lightsabers. And then
Dude,
that's what I was
is
just like,
this?
maybe I should fucking check out For Honor again, because I did enjoy it when I was playing
Oh
it.
my god, this is so fucking cool, dude!
Dude, what is this?
Yeah, it's pretty
Oh
rad.
my god!
And it kind of works.
What happened?
So then there's that. And then there were the riot walkouts, which we didn't talk about. It happened last week. And essentially, there was 150 riot employees that walked out to protest forced arbitration and, according to Kotaku's, sexist culture. And I think what happened was Riot ended up saying that they weren't going to force arbitration on new employees, which is good. You definitely don't want forced arbitration. I understand the idea behind forced arbitration, but you can't, if you're a company like Riot, you can't, it's just so bad to enact any sort of forced arbitration on your employees, especially when you're that big. It's more meant for like small business, you know, small business with where insurances are just a little too high and there's a lot of danger involved in the risk. Like maybe if you are a small roofing company, you might want to enact some sort of forced arbitration. But if you're just a giant sort of tech company where you're known to have like this sort of sexist, braggadocious culture involved, it's just going to lead to really bad PR, and that's essentially what happened here. And I believe that they were able to get it worked out. Toward the end of the walkout, Monahan made an announcement saying that if Riot management doesn't make any sort of commitment on forced arbitration on May 16th, the date of the next Riot Unplugged meeting, she and others involved with the walkout will take further action. Another walkout organizer, writer Indu Reddy, was not able to delve into specifics of what that will mean, but she told Kotaku, "We do have plans and we do have days that we're planning and we do have commitments that we have responses for." And yeah, that was a pretty big fucking story last week that we weren't able to cover. So let me double check, make sure that it was rescinded. I remember seeing it was. They made a statement: our commitments on arbitration and next steps for D&I. This was on May 3rd. Over the last 8 months, we've been entirely focused on listening, learning, and acting. We're able to transform our culture and create a more diverse and inclusive Riot. Along the way, we shared some of these efforts with you. As soon as current litigation is resolved, we will give all new rioters the choice to opt out of mandatory arbitration for individual sexual harassment and sexual assault claims. At that time, we will also commit to have a firm answer around expanding the scope and extending this opt-out to all rioters. So they're not completely rescinding forced arbitration, but they're allowing an opt-out of it, which is, I feel like, might even be even worse. You just kind of want to just take it away. You don't want some employees being underneath an arbitration law and other employees that aren't. That's just going to cause even further issues. It seems like this company they just don't know what they're doing in terms of just employee well-being. So that was big news. Dead Cells is coming to the iPhone. I'm super pumped about this. $8.99. When is it coming out? This summer. And they said that it's gonna be they developed it specifically with touch controls in mind. So this should be really, really interesting. Any way I can get Dead Cells, I'm happy.
So now you can play Dead Cells on your phone while playing it on your Switch while playing it on your computer.
Hell yeah, dude. I'm pumped. I mean, if I have it on my phone, if you can actually play it on your phone, which I'm still a little bit weary of, that would be my premier way to play it. Just because I don't really need to play it on my Switch anymore. This would just be more of like a train kind of game. Mario Maker 2 Direct happening tomorrow. Yes, tomorrow at 3 p.m. Pacific. They're just doing a full Direct on Mario Maker 2.
15 minutes of just Mario Maker 2 news, which is really interesting to me that they're doing this now, since E3 is right around the corner, but this now frees up a ton of time for E3 where they're not going to sit and talk about Mario Maker, so...
They're going to sit and
That's
talk
good.
about how they have
Fire
to
Emblem.
restart Metroid again.
Metroid Prime 4.
Yeah, right. They're not even gonna mention that fucking game
Oh, they ain't going to mention
no.
that until right after 2 years.
for a
That's
while.
Nope, that's all CES. Nope, they had to restart it again.
No, yeah, I'm interested. As much as we shit on the Wii U, and as much as I will also
Mario Maker's cool.
happily shit on the Wii U, the good games it did have were good, and Mario Maker was one of those good games.
To an extent, Mario
There
Maker
were some issues.
Yeah, that, but also it's one of those things where Mario Maker was mostly a good game, but the entire point of Mario Maker is it's a map creator and then go play through other people's maps. So it's really up to the community to make it a good game.
Oh, and the community made some really bad maps. But then any map creator always has those people that decide to put out really junked. Have you not seen the Smash stages that have been made?
No, that's kind of my point.
Oh
It's
my
like,
god, they're so weird.
I still haven't even played any of them. I don't even bother.
instead of Smash on a dick, it's gonna be Mario on a dick. Like, there you go.
It's so, but yeah, I mean, now you've got a much larger install base making levels.
Which
So
is-
I'm just excited.
Could be a bad thing.
I'm just excited to see some of the changes. And it's one of those games where it's so simple. You can just, even if you don't want to make your own stages and you just want to play people's stages,
You can do that.
That would be me.
hopefully, because of how, I don't say how well, but because of some of the changes that the Smash Brothers stage creator did, where you could search and follow different creators, they need to do that for Mario Maker 2. Like, if you can't search for stages easily, and you have to type in a freaking 12-digit code again for a stage, that's not a good look. But I think it'll be better because of what Smash did. But yeah, I mean, it's a really simple game to pick up and play. Like, it's totally worth, for me, it's totally worth the price point.
Oddworld Soulstorm is releasing early 2020. Teaser trailer reveals first gameplay, which we can't watch here because that's an ad. That's where I'm gonna watch it. But I mean, it looks like Oddworld. It doesn't look any different, right?
2.5D, but definitely looks like it's capturing that good old Oddworld charm.
Yeah, man.
Just that weird aesthetic.
Super, super awesome franchise, man. I'm excited.
I still argue it's probably one of the most underrated franchises.
Yeah, for sure. Respawn to start banning piggybacking in Apex instead of fixing how battle pass points are earned. What is piggybacking?
So with the current way that it's set up, you get the battle pass experience based on only survival time. It's not based on win. It's not based on squad wipes. It's not based on kills. That's all regular EXP. The Battle Pass EXP that's like a bonus
Right.
is only based on survival time. So a lot of people are just going AFK, or they'll just hop in and you're essentially stuck with a player that doesn't play.
Yeah.
That is annoying. I mean, I've only had it happen to me maybe 3 times, but I also don't play the game a crap ton anymore. Like I still play it, but I don't play it like I was playing it.
It's bad, dude. The
It's
hacking
bad, but
hacking is so bad in it.
And the solution to it isn't to ban piggybacking, because that's not addressing the real issue.
Right.
The issue is that Battle Pass should not be only based on survival time.
Yeah. And
It
it
should
doesn't
be
even
based
matter.
on
Like,
other things.
what do these people want Battle Pass points for anyway? The Battle Pass fucking sucks.
Hey,
Pretty
they wasted their money. They want it.
It's terrible.
Yep. If they had fixed it, if they fixed it where,
Dude, EA had a gold mine on their hands and they fucked it up terribly.
I'm telling you, if they had squad wipes and kills and all the other usual things that determine Battle Pass, the regular experience also determine Battle Pass experience, you wouldn't see piggybacking like it is.
I mean, it's rough because they're up against Fortnite, which can release like new shit all the time. But I feel like you need that. Like that's kind of the reason why a lot of people have started leaving PUBG, and that's why they're kind of coming back to PUBG, because PUBG's adding a lot more stuff to it. You gotta just keep dropping shit, even if it's like one thing.
Yeah, it's the thing with seasonal content, where I argue that it would be more accepted if they added a competitive, like an actual competitive mode into the game. Because the way you look at seasons and like meta, those things matter when you play a competitive game. When you play a fighting game where the next patch comes with the next update, and then the meta changes. And that would be fine if, this is just, okay, this season's meta, Wraith has a terrible hitbox, Pathfinder has a terrible hitbox, the Gibraltar stuff doesn't fully work, all these things. And then, we're in the next season, we're going to push a patch and we're going to update all of that. Okay, well, that's just how the meta is for this season. But that doesn't change the fact that there's not a competitive mode for it to actually matter in.
Mm-hmm.
If they had a competitive mode, then yes, I could go, well, this, seasonal updates make sense. You have to let a meta have room to breathe. But without a competitive mode, none of that, it's null and void.
Yeah, true. And there's still one mode. They still only have one fucking mode.
Yeah.
There's
And don't get me
other
wrong,
mode to
I
play.
think when they drop season 2 and then drop a big patch with season 2 that changes a lot of things, you'll see people come back to the game, spend about 1 to 2 weeks on it, and then leave again.
Mm-hmm.
Just like any other game with where the core fan base is there and the casuals kind of revisit it every update.
Yeah.
That's just, I mean, it's not a bad, it's not a bad game. It's still a fun game.
No, it's great. It's a good
just has
game.
its issues.
They just need, it has a lot of issues that they need to fix up.
And I'm willing to, I'm willing, I'm not going to be a crazy person and go, I vow to never play this game again, because let's be honest, you're going to play it in season 2. We'll see you in June.
Probably not.
I mean, the people that were like pretty heavy into it will come back.
I would never.
They'll bitch and they'll come back. I mean, it's like Siege all over again. Because Rainbow Six Siege had a ton of like outcry from the fan base.
Yeah, but that community is still going strong, man.
They are.
That community is still strong as hell.
Apex
I would
is
say
still-
stronger than fucking Apex.
I still say Apex is still young, so
It is. It's hard to remember that it's only a few months
Yeah,
old.
and you gotta remember, Fortnite is on season 9.
Yeah.
And they also run a ton of crunch to push it out. And, this is Respawn's first Battle Royale game. It's the first time they're doing anything like this. They're working out the kinks.
I mean, I wouldn't also mind if they were to just chill on Apex, let it do its thing, while also just like heavily developing this Star Wars Apex thing that they're working on.
I still think that people who play Apex way too much need to fucking chill out and play something else.
All right. Final Fantasy VII Remake finally shown again during PlayStation State of Play. Here you go. Here's a little footage here. Development footage, subject to change. Yeah, when I first saw the trailer, I was like, okay, now I'm actually interested in this.
Me and Jerry were talking the other night about this. So, I mean, we kind of knew it was coming at E3. We didn't know that we were going to get an actual trailer before E3, but we knew with the whole concert and everything that E3 was definitely going to be where they showed this. The farthest in the story they've shown in the trailers is after Wall Street, but before the tower collapse that drops the plate in Sector 7. By the way, spoilers for a 22-year-old game. But yeah, so I'm still certain that this game only takes place in Midgar, and that we know that it's going to still be episodic. Which means I don't know if I'm going to get it day one. I might just wait until the complete package on PS5.
Yeah, but I tell you what, I am more interested than I was before.
It looks cool. I like the UI changes. It looks a lot more like the Kingdom Hearts style of battle. You can easily switch between characters on the fly using the L2 and R2 is what they look like they're setting up for. And the character, like, everything looks really good. It looks really good.
Yeah.
The graphics look amazing.
But it's definitely a remake.
Yeah, I'm wondering, my main concerns are not with this first game and with Midgar. It's with what are they going to do when they get to the open world aspect. That's where my current concern lies. Because it's one thing to make Midgar, this town, this huge sprawling like town. You've really made it look really nice. But what happens when you enter the overworld and there's other towns? Are you going to make them these gigantic environments? Are you not going to be able to revisit them if it's episodic? Because you're not going to be able to you have to allot so much space for these environments. I'm really cautiously optimistic on how they're going to handle the transition between Midgar and Overworld. Because it's easy in the 2D polygon, like freaking like in the old PS1 era. Your character is like 1/10 the size of the freaking map.
Yeah.
There's random battles. There's not going to be random battles in an Overworld in this remake. So I don't know.
Protecting Children from Abusive Games Act, the PCAGA,
awful name,
could ban pay-to-win microtransactions. One of the most talked about topics in the games industry is the egregious inclusion to pay-to-win microtransactions and loot boxes across various games. Some examples are more predatory than others. The general overall feeling towards them seems to be negative. There are certain instances in which parents feel that children are being taken advantage of due to the addictive nature of some of these games and their in-game purchase options. That's why U.S. Senator John Hawley announced a new bill, the Protecting Children from Abusive Games Act, that would ban pay-to-win microtransactions and loot boxes across many games. According to a Kotaku report, the ban would be across games played by minors, which raises some questions. Is it a ban on all microtransactions in games below a mature rating or any game that's played by children? There are certainly a ton of M-rated games that children play, so are those included too? How will children be walled off from making purchases in mature-rated games? It seems like a bill with positive intentions, but quickly gets complicated. Quote by Hawley: when a game is designed for kids, game developers shouldn't be allowed to monetize addiction. And when kids play games designed for adults, they should be walled off from compulsive microtransactions. Game developers who knowingly exploit children should face legal consequences. I mean, I think this article says it well. The intentions seem good, but the implementation of it, how the fuck are you plan on doing it? You know what I mean?
Poorly.
Especially if it's just like, hey, you're allowed to have microtransactions in mature games. Anything under that, you can't. Then they're all just going to make their games mature-rated games. That's where the money is. They're not going to miss out on all that money if, just to keep a T rating. It doesn't really matter in games. It's not like it does in movies. When you go to watch a movie, you have to present your ID and stuff like that. With games, it's a lot more difficult to try to prevent that. Plus, I'm also just like how is there a way where they can just fucking ban it? Just ban it. Stop exploiting the addiction of humanity.
I also, for one, the bill name is just a really bad name. It's just way too wordy.
It's not the wordiest, I'll tell you that.
And two, it just, It's one of those like use the children as
Hold
defense.
on, real quick too. They show an image of Star Wars here, which is a good example of that. But a better example are all the fucking iOS games on the iPhone. Those are the worst abusers of these systems. Are those stupid fucking iOS games? It's not Star Wars Battlefront. It's the fucking Candy Crush and all those games. Those are draining millions out of these people's hands.
I love how they call it abusive games. As if the games themselves are abusive, not the marketing tactics within the games. No, it's the game that's abusive. No, it's the microtransactions in the games like that you could consider abusive. And of course, protecting children. It's like you go to anyone and go, do you not believe in protecting the children from abusive games? You must.
That's exactly why they name them that way.
Children.
That's why they name them that way.
I hate this fucking bullshit naming process. They always pull this shit.
Yeah. Well, once you look, beyond the name, I think the intentions are good. It's just
the intentions are good. It's just there, because people are normally dumb and don't read things.
Yeah. It's just not going to go anywhere. It's not going to go anywhere. It's not going to, there needs to be either an all-out ban or an all-out, people need to stop spending money on microtransactions for it to stop. There's no other way it'll stop.
They already let the game industry self-regulate itself with the ESRB because of Mortal Kombat. I totally think they're going to wind up
I'm perfectly fine with the game industry regulating itself, but
it'll regulate itself.
I am too, but they're not going to for this.
No. The only way to stop it is if you stop buying microtransactions, and that ain't stopping anytime soon.
They'll try to make it more transparent. They'll try to move away from the stigma of gambling, which, let's be honest, most people when they hear loot boxes think gambling.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it is. There's no way to cut that. The loot box is gambling.
Yeah, that's what it is.
It's an RNG fest. That's the issues with WoW and a lot of other games right now. Is it's just RNG, fucking.
Does WoW?
Gambling.
Do they list their obs? Because I know a lot of them are.
WoW doesn't have loot boxes like that, but gear drops. You don't know what's gonna drop at a dungeon. But then they added other systems on other systems like Titan forging, so the gear might get even better. So now the best gear is actually a -3% chance of you even seeing it, letting alone getting it.
Is it transparent though? Do you know the odds, or you just don't know the odds at all?
No, you know the odds of something Titan forging. You don't have odds of how much that can Titan forge. Again, it's not a loot box. It's
not a loot box. Yeah, it's like Monster Hunter when you constantly fight the same thing over and over again, looking for that one thing to craft with.
Right. It's not that. It's not like a loot box in that sense, but you have to go kill the boss.
Game mechanics
to be able to get it right. But it is still just RNG on RNG, and then that's what a lot of the loot boxes.
It's not a loot box if it's a feature.
Yeah. Well, here's the ESA, the Entertainment Software Association's response to this bill by Josh Hawley. Numerous countries, including Ireland, Germany, Sweden, Denmark, Australia, New Zealand, and the UK, determined that loot boxes do not constitute gambling. We look forward to sharing with the Senator the tools and information the industry already provides that keeps the control of in-game spending in parents' hands. Parents already have the ability to limit or prohibit in-game purchases with easy-to-use parental controls.
Depending on the publisher and the game, yes.
And plus, also, it's.
I guarantee all of those games on your phone have parental controls built into them.
Yeah, and it's also if you don't want your kid playing or trying to get into loot boxes, then there's just some games that they can't play. That's just the fact of life with this situation. There's some games that they can't play because there's a loot boxes solely embedded in it. This is the only reward that you can get from it. Overwatch being one, Apex being another, Battlefront.
Overwatch, I think you can, because Overwatch is just skins. The bigger issue to me is when it goes into the other things. To me, I have more of an issue with EA and fucking football, every Ultimate Team, things like that, where it's no, if you want to get genuinely better, you have to spend money. Versus just here's a cosmetic thing.
Yeah, when it's gameplay oriented and when it's very much like.
But at the same time, I don't want loot boxes in Overwatch. It fucking sucks. Just let me just buy the fucking thing I want.
Exactly.
But if it is cosmetics, I'm a little bit more okay with that than like, no, it's something that genuinely impacts gameplay.
And the thing is, though, I still think cosmetics are just as enticing, especially if you're
No,
younger.
they are just as enticing.
You know,
No, yeah,
it
I
still
agree with you.
exploits like that addiction sort of mentality of the
Entirely,
mind.
Yeah.
And
it's still
thing
gambling.
for me-
Yeah.
the funny thing for me is like in third-person games, I can easily see why you want a dope skin. You're actually looking at it. In Apex, it's a first-person shooter. You're not looking at your gun or your character model.
Yeah. Well, you're definitely
it's
looking at your
just-
gun. You definitely want those gun skins.
But it's definitely a way to just it's like a dick measuring contest with other people.
Oh
Yeah,
yeah,
and that's what kids love,
that's,
dude.
that's sport. Well, that's like esports games basically.
Kids love measuring their dicks with other kids.
Welcome to the internet. That's all that happens on the internet basically.
I mean, I'm for anything that will
Towards
abolish
red.
loot boxes. I fucking hate them. Let me just fucking buy the goddamn thing. I'm sure so many people would agree, but there's
And
just so
instead of
much
giving
more
you-
money in gambling.
Instead of giving you a loot box or hitting a level, just give me like crafting materials or whatever it is to get said item.
Yeah, but the thing is, then they're gonna fucking make the crafting materials just barely anything, and you have to spend 1,000 hours in the game to even unlock like a fucking glove, and it's
Like
just
Apex Legends.
Yeah, exactly.
Apex is the worst offender of it. I mean, they're all. I mean, like a fucking like tracker is as much as like a top skin. It's so stupid, and they take forever. You literally have to pay. You can't pay or
You have
play
to
your
get
way
to
through
level
it.
22 to unlock one character. And if you want to unlock another character, I think it's like what 70. And then like who knows after that.
Yeah,
You can literally only get all of the characters if you buy them.
yeah.
And my favorite, my ultimate favorite is the
Just make it so you buy it or you don't. Not both.
the battle pass. Even the rewards for that, like you think that you're paying money, they should be good. No, how about like levels? I think there's like 5 levels in a row where it's like useless ass stat tracker, voice line, like not even a gun. It's like a gun skin, but it's like the worst gun in the game. It's like a Mozambique skin.
Yeah.
I'll buy another tracker,
Yeah,
and it's like this is awful.
Okay, well, anyone buys it.
NetherRealm reducing overtime and surveying employees following allegations of poor work conditions. A week after promising to launch an investigation into allegations of toxic work conditions, NetherRealm Studios has reportedly cut down on overtime hours and has been holding internal meetings to assess the situation. Speaking to Variety on condition of anonymity, a current employee said that a company-wide meeting was held last Thursday in which employees were informed that they would be sent out surveys to gather feedback. Based on that feedback, parent company Warner Brothers Interactive Entertainment will be establishing focus groups in different NetherRealm departments to address employees' concerns and complaints. The anonymous employee also said that the following multiple reports in recent weeks, NetherRealm decided to give its employees last weekend off. So it's good they're kind of addressing it and taking a look at it.
Yeah,
Sounds
but then
like,
you can go through the rest of the article and talking, and every single employee is just like, yeah, I don't think this is real. They just gave us the weekend for press.
Yeah.
pretty much. Yeah, it definitely seems like nothing would have happened unless Warner Brothers maybe had stepped in, but who knows how much they're actually.
Absolutely. They would have just ignored it. They're still going to just ignore it.
course.
Nothing's going to come of this.
They're gonna have to get that next patch done.
They need a sort of union and they need to strike. That's the only way to sort of get these companies to
They
listen.
need to get ready for the next DLC.
Yeah.
And
This is a story that I was trying to read up on. I don't know the full story. Doobie, do you know this Claptrap story?
Oh, I was gonna say before that.
Go ahead.
There's another link under that Mortal Kombat.
Oh yes, I see it here.
From Kotaku, and I usually don't link Kotaku, but
I like Kotaku. I like Jason Schreier at Kotaku. I think he does good work.
Jason Schreier is probably the best member there, but there's been some really shoddy articles. But this one's actually interesting. So some of the people who've been working on Mortal Kombat 11, based on just how violent the game is, these people have been like actually scarred by it.
Yeah, the headline is, I'd have these extremely graphic dreams. What it's like to work on ultra-violent games like Mortal Kombat 11. This is interesting. Go ahead, continue.
So, like with anything else, you're doing research or you're crafting these more like fatalities that are like super gory. They're just want it more realistic and more realistic. And this is kind of an offshoot of what happened. I don't know how long ago, but when Dead Rising, I think, came out, or was it Dead Rising or no? What was the one in space that was really violent?
I know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
I forget the name of it. Not Dead Cells.
No, it's Dead Space, maybe.
Dead Space. Yep, Dead Space.
When that came out, in order to actually craft the look of the enemies, they would have their workers look at pictures of like people mangled in car crashes.
Oh, that's awesome.
It's like, unless you have a stomach for it, like, and even the graphics in like Mortal Kombat 11, even I'm like, and I don't mind normally the ultra violent. Even I was like, this is a little much. This is actually really violent.
Yeah, some people I find there's like a different like trigger. Like my wife is a perfect example. There's like a different trigger that goes off in her brain when she sees stuff like that, even if it's fake and she knows it's fake. You know what I mean? It's just like that graphic imagery to some people just like triggers something like a disturbing response in them. And for others like myself, like I could, it just doesn't, I don't know. I'm like drawn to it.
Now imagine you play the game, you see a fatality every couple matches or whatever. Even if it's every match, you're still seeing a fatality. Now imagine working on nothing but fatalities.
Yeah.
That is your job for 8, 9, whatever it is with a crunch a day of just constantly. Some people might get, desensitized to it to the point where it doesn't even, it's like using a word so many times you lose its meaning.
Yeah.
You just don't like even
Or
realize.
some people just like internalize it and get all fucked up.
You internalize it and it completely fucks your psyche. Especially with how graphically intense these games are now. Even to the point where YouTube is demonetizing Mortal Kombat 11 videos because the blood. It's so realistic that it thinks it's real blood. So a lot of people who've been doing Mortal Kombat 11 videos have been doing all the fatalities and stuff in black and white.
Oh, really?
To get around it.
Oh, wow.
But it's fine when you have like a character like Garrus who has blue blood because it doesn't pick that up.
Oh, interesting.
But it's almost getting to the point where like even the filters for YouTube are marking it as this, like it knows it's violent. It almost thinks it's human violence.
Here's one such story about a developer who worked with the cinematics team for Mortal Kombat 11 and requested anonymity in order to protect their employees' prospects. They told Kotaku that they had worked on the game throughout 2018 and spent their days reviewing violent animation work, discussing it with leads, sharing feedback with animators, and generally being surrounded by the kind of bloody real-life research material that creators reference in order to animate video game gore. Within a month, they started feeling the effects. Quote, I'd have these extremely graphic dreams, very violent, they told Kotaku in a call. I kind of just stopped wanting to go to sleep, so I just keep myself awake for days at a time to avoid sleeping. See, that is probably what is exacerbating that problem.
Eventually, they saw therapists who diagnosed them with PTSD.
Yeah, that's a little extreme, I think. There might be some underlying trauma there.
And with how much we keep advancing in just graphical fidelity.
Yeah. I mean, but still, it's fake. For some, like, I can understand, like, the research materials and having to view that stuff.
That do it to you.
Yeah, that I can understand where some people, that's real. That's, real people and images that you're seeing. But, I mean, like, Scorpion, like, doing a spear through some guy and then, like, jumping through his skull. Like, it's not, I don't know. That's not going to give many people PTSD.
Yeah, you're just watching
over the top. It's almost cartoon-like.
I'm going to paraphrase, but like he's talking about how he's like watching all around the office, and you've got people watching hangings, you've got people watching, like looking at murder victims, of cows being slaughtered, all for this realistic look.
Yeah.
And like I could never do that job. I am not good with gore.
Yeah.
Like video game gore I can decently handle, but like even Mortal Kombat 11, some of its fatalities, I'm like, nah, I'm good. I don't want to see that again.
Really?
Some of it just queases me out.
You have that trigger, that response?
Normally, I would give you the two that definitely do it for me. It's anything with eyes and anything with guts. Like that's just not a visual image I like looking at.
Now everyone knows your weak spot.
I don't do horror movies for a reason.
Yeah. No, yeah,
And
that's the thing too. Some people just can't do horror movies in any sense of it, and I find that very interesting.
I don't handle gore and jump scares very well.
Yeah.
I what movie did I see? I think it was Endgame, and there was a part where there's like a jump, not even a jump scare, just one of those like pop-ups in the movie, and I actually jumped. I don't handle them well. I don't handle it well.
Hey man, at least you're honest about it.
This is me during horror movie trailers.
Are you closing your eyes, peeking through the fingers?
I'll peek, I'll take a peek. But as soon as I see it, like in the Chapter 2 trailer, that I didn't realize it was the Chapter 2 trailer, when it was playing on my phone on a YouTube ad, I was like, I saw Pennywise, I was like, no.
Man, I would love to show you some really fucking fucked up movies.
No, thank you. I'm not watching a Serbian film. My freaking college roommates did that in college.
I find this interesting though because I can understand how this would be a thing, you know, especially more so nowadays, you know, that like as you say, like just like constant hourly, just like especially in like an animation team where you're constantly looking at these images, you probably get some crazy dreams. If you're getting PTSD from, you know, animating Scorpion jumping through someone's skull, I think there might be a little bit underlying issues there, but yeah, it's interesting. I hope it gets better. I hope the gore, for my sake, gets better. I hope they're able to like continue it. I would hate for it to be scaled back in any way. All right.
I just think they need to put the right people in the right positions.
Yeah, if you can't handle it, then definitely don't work somewhere like that. Definitely, especially like the first time you go into that meeting and they show you a video of a hanging and you have like some really weird response. Just be like, the same for me, man. I gotta get the fuck out of here.
Injustice? Like, do I have to work on Mortal Kombat?
Yeah.
It's
Exactly.
I do comic shit, not like this.
All right, so what's going on with this Claptrap thing is I saw this on Twitter. Ex-Claptrap voice actor further explained departure, alleged Randy Pitchford assaulted him.
So I guess we'll start from the beginning. Because I got 3 articles just on this alone.
Yeah.
This is like the crazy, I don't know what's going on. So David Eddings, who was the voice of Claptrap, and he was also Gearbox's president of strategic partnerships and licensing. He's not in Borderlands 3.
Said he like beat him up, didn't he?
Well, so apparently what happened is he claims that he wasn't paid for his role as Claptrap. They never paid him for that. Randy Pitchford, the current CEO of Gearbox, argues that, says that he's disgruntled. And then Eddings came out and said about how he was assaulted at GDC in 2017. Where he was apparently shoved by Pitchford, and that's all we got at when it first came out. Then you've got Gearbox coming out and saying that they take all these things serious, that they would work with David if he ever wanted to come back. They didn't really there didn't really make much of a mention on it. So the co-founder of Gearbox says he witnessed Randy Pitchford shove David Eddings at GDC 2017 when Eddings brought up, and mind you, Eddings was at the time also the president of whatever the thing I said it was, strategic partnerships and licensing. He brought it up to Pitchford that he had heard some rumors that some guy named Greg Richardson was trying to buy Gearbox. And nobody knew about it.
No, he was trying to buy Claptrap.
What?
No, I'm sorry. Bad joke.
No, it's like, yeah. Well, Greg Richardson was trying to purchase Gearbox. Nobody knew about it. So apparently he got into it with Pitchford about it, and Pitchford started going off the deep end about it, like demanding to know what the source was, bitching at Eddings, saying like, "Who are you loyal to? You loyal to Gearbox or some random person?" And it was just like, I guess Pitchford didn't take kindly to these rumors.
And you said someone was there to witness this?
The co-founder of
Gearbox?
Gearbox apparently says he witnessed this.
Okay.
He said he saw this at GDC 2017.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a lawsuit filed against Pitchford by a former Gearbox attorney. who knew it, suggesting that Pitchford knew about Richardson as a prospective buyer who was trying to raise capital to buy Gearbox. This is a weird story. Like, you don't think, like, you know, two higher ups in this company are physically like being assaulted. Like, one of them is being physically assaulted by the other.
And Eddings sent this over to Newsweek. Eddings provided Newsweek screenshots of text messages that he exchanged with Pitchford, which showed his loyalty with being questioned. Quote, "I'm giving you everything without breaking my word," Eddings texted. "Who the fuck are you loyal to?" Pitchford responded. "Gearbox or some fucking random guy, and what the fuck are they going to lose if they are exposed?" In later text, Pitchford called Eddings an idiot for keeping his source a secret and told him that his priorities are completely fucked. Gearbox has already released a public statement addressing Eddings' allegations. Let's look at the statement.
And Pitchford has yet to say anything about the assault.
Mm-hmm. Now, is he claiming like the shove was the assault?
I think that's what he's claiming.
Okay.
Because he was quote unquote shoved hard out of the blue.
Gearbox takes any and all claims of this nature very seriously, and we will abstain from commenting on the allegations Dave is making because it is a personal matter. We appreciate David's contributions to the Borderlands franchise and have continued to assert we would welcome him back into the mix as the voice of Claptrap and other future opportunities. Oh, interesting.
It's so
Covering
weird.
their ass there. Yeah, that is odd. I saw this and I saw that people were... I mean, it's just... It's odd.
What's going on with all these studios, man? Riot, NetherRealms, Gearbox.
I really think it's just the type of industry. Like, there's a lot of drama and stuff like this that goes on in vaping because it's the type of person that gets into vaping. And I think the same goes for the gaming community.
It's all Wolf of Wall Street right now.
Yeah.
Well, it's that, but then it's
more
also
like Revenge of the Nerds.
yeah, it's that, but it's also the amount of time that's gone into a lot of these companies.
There's so much money on the line.
It's
so competitive.
You're now a big company, you have a lot of money, but you're still running it like you're Riot and think you're actually still like a 22-year-old.
There was the accusations of sexual like misconduct at Quantum, I think it was, or whatever, the people that made like Heavy Rain and stuff.
Oh, really?
Yeah, that whole studio's having like issues with sexual like problems. I don't know if it was sexual assault or if it was just words. I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
But I know I saw that in the news. You don't see this happening in Japanese studios.
Well, you might just not be hearing about it.
Speak Japanese.
Yeah, you might just not be
That's
hearing
true.
about
There
it.
might be a cultural difference as well.
True.
You might just not be hearing about it. I mean, like labor and social
Imagine
justice. It's just a hot topic in the U.S. right now.
Imagine if you heard Shigeru Miyamoto like physically assaulted,
Beating his employees.
Yeah, he physically assaulted Reggie.
He's got Reggie tied up in the fucking basement, telling him to resign.
Why Reggie resigned? He just couldn't handle being beaten anymore.
That would be a fucking
That would
hit.
That would be a
If
bomb.
anyone has any information about Miyamoto beating his employees, I want to break that story. Send it to No Life. Oh my god, that would be amazing.
I mean, I would be so devastated as a Nintendo fan, but also would be like, I guess it's kind of with the times.
All right, let's get into some tech. There's some stuff here. Jerry, you got your Fuji XT3, dude?
30.
XT30.
XT30.
Right.
Which is basically an XT3, just smaller. But yeah, got
Bring
that
up
in.
the
I'm happy.
specs.
I'm a happy boy.
When did you get it?
A week and a half, week ago? I don't know. About a week ago.
Have you taken any movies yet?
I don't know. I've been through a lot of testing and its paces, but I've mostly been focused on packing and moving.
Yeah. No
Nice.
pics?
Yeah, taking a bunch. I'm putting through a couple of solid weeks of like testing and deciding how much I like it. Which, spoiler, is actually I like it a lot.
Mm-hmm. What's the lens you have on it?
15 to 45. 3.5.
So it's a kit lens?
Yep, just the kit lens for it so far. And the kit lens is actually better than I was expecting. It's not as good as the other kit lens, which I'm going to buy for it, which is the 18 to 55 2.4 to 4, and that lens is amazing. But I figured I couldn't pass up a deal I got on this, because basically I can go buy a used one of those for about $300.
Yeah, if you can get the 18 to 55, definitely.
Oh yeah, no, I'm going to.
That looks like
It's
an
just-
awesome lens.
It's just there's so many good like used ones in good ass shape that they cost like $300 used, or I could have spent $600 more for it brand new.
No, get a used one. Always get used lenses.
So I was like, no, I'm just gonna wait.
Yeah, always
no,
get
I'm
used lenses.
I'm super happy. Why? I wish it had a flip screen. I wish it had IBIS. That's the biggest thing. Is actually I wish it had IBIS.
Yeah.
Otherwise, actual image quality is fantastic. Autofocus is fantastic. Rolling shutter sucks, but it's mirrorless camera.
Yeah, it's not going to be so good. The
It's not-
IBIS the IBIS hurts because you notice it when you're filming it. You definitely
Well-
notice like it's hard to hold that bitch steady.
It's that, and well, especially too because this thing is super fucking light.
Yeah, exactly.
Especially with this thing with the kit lens weighs less than your camera's body.
Yeah. But when I use like the A6000, which doesn't have IBIS, and I try to film anything, it's just like boing, and then when you have a heavy lens on the front and it's off balance, it's even harder.
I do like this better than that, even without IBIS. And I'm just saying, like, that was the thing I was going to say though. It sucks not having IBIS, but if you're trying to do something properly, we'll put it that way, it's obvious, it's noticeable that you don't have IBIS, but it looks a lot more natural than what I've seen from a lot of the Sonys
Mm-hmm.
and other things, where it's not just janky up and down. Like it's still definitely going up and down, but you can kind of slow that down and make it look a lot more natural, like you're walking or something.
Does
like
the
that.
lens have any IBIS in it?
Yeah.
That's probably
Lens
what
has
that
any-
is. That's
Well,
probably
yeah.
what's helping then.
And most of the zoom, all of the zooms except for the 18, or not the 18, the 8 to 16 is image stabilized. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah,
So
that's
besides-
usually what they do. They'll go try to stabilize the lens rather than the body, just to make the body cheaper.
Well, yeah, and it's also because like seriously, this like seeing it until you like, I'll bring this to you at some point so you can see it. This thing is so fucking tiny. Like this is my hand. You know, I can completely like close it around.
Yeah.
So tiny, and that is a good thing and a bad thing. The biggest thing that most people have is the ergonomics. They don't like this Q button being right here, which is the quick menu, because it's easy to accidentally hit. I don't have that issue. Like I'm not accidentally hitting it with my thumb or anything. But this that's a grip. Like, are you serious? This you're supposed to hold on to this. Like,
Dude, it's bigger than a lot of grips that I've seen. Let me show you something. This
Well, no,
camera, you see that grip?
no, exactly.
I had to
It's
buy that. I had to buy that little fucking grip.
Yeah, no, it's not that. Yeah, it's not that bad. But what I'm planning on doing, because the other big thing that kind of sucks, your quarter or your eighth jack on the bottom isn't centered underneath the lens. So what they do is they make a couple of companies make this really cool little cage that I'm buying for it. I just haven't yet. Basically, it just moves that over, but it adds about an extra 15 millimeters or like 1.5 centimeters to the grip,
That's
and
cool.
all wood, and actually gives you like more like a proper grip.
Yeah.
For like $33.
Yeah, definitely
Totally.
put a cage on there.
And that's the shitty part, is there isn't a lot of good cages. Small Rig made a really good cage for the XT20, which is about the same size and would work. Just good luck finding those because they discontinued them. And they haven't made a 30 cage yet. So hopefully if they make a 30 cage and you have a 30, buy it immediately. Like whenever they do make it. Otherwise, I'm really happy with it. Autofocus is it's actually really good.
Yeah, Fuji
it's
has pretty good autofocus.
It's not nearly as good as Sony, don't get me wrong. Like I'm not trying to say that, or Canon.
It's way better than Panasonic.
Oh yeah, it's better than Panasonic, Olympus, anyone else, and it's by far good enough that I've never lost the shot yet so far through all my testing. I'm like, I've been trying, like I've been even trying to put it into situations where like I start spinning around in my chair really fast and getting tons of rolling shutter, and yet it's even with all the rolling shutter, it's still like picked up on my eye.
Mm-hmm.
but there are a lot of flaws, but the actual image quality, I love it.
Yeah, you're gonna get some flaws. It's under $1,000, so it's not gonna be a perfect camera, but it is.
But it is the real XT3 sensor. It's the same exact sensor and processor.
Yeah. I mean,
So
it's
quality's
essentially like
great.
perfect for your situation and it's a hybrid camera, which I think is better than going Panasonic anyway, because then you have the opportunity to take like really good Fuji camera or images. And when you do, make sure you hashtag Fuji frames, and that puts you in the fucking thing.
Yeah. No, we'll get into
I want to
more.
see some footage. Better upload some footage.
I'm gonna send you some, yeah, because I've been working on that. I'm trying to go through a bunch of testing and actually put that all together instead of just putting out like a 3-minute clip. Because I've been trying to test that through low light and like super bright light, like everything like that. But honestly, too, dude, you especially with the little 15 to 45, you could vlog with that. You can totally vlog with this. It's 15 on the 1.5 crop because it's 1.5 crop, not 1.6 like Canon. It's a 22. Like that's totally fine, especially because of how fucking light this camera is.
Yeah. No, you could definitely vlog with it. Yeah, I'm interested.
Again.
Yeah, I wouldn't, only just because the IBIS isn't there, but
Yeah,
you could. I mean, essentially, a lot of the time you're not gonna be vlogging anyway. You're gonna have a somewhat of like a Joby GorillaPod or something. So you just put it down, put it in front of you, and then talk into it.
No, I'm using. I got a Manfrotto on the way because I don't like the Joby GorillaPods.
Is it a mini one or it's just a
like the
regular
little-
tripod?
Like the little mini Manfrotto Pixie or whatever.
Little
Just because I
hand one?
prefer that style. I don't like the Joby GorillaPods because those always break.
Oh, have you seen the Switch Pod?
Yeah, but again, if I vlogged a lot, sure, but I don't.
I just want to show it to you. Show the
It is really-
audience. I think I showed it to you. This is made by some YouTuber, some photography YouTuber, but it's essentially this metal thing that you just like flip out, and it's like a little tripod. It's pretty cool. It's not like malleable like the GorillaPods, so you can't wrap it around anything. But I think it's a pretty cool thing. Cool though. There you go, man. Now you're gonna be spending money on camera gear.
Yeah, I'm going back down that a lot. I already have a list of things I want.
I bet. It never
I want-
ends, dude. It never ends.
First things I really want are another couple of lenses. I specifically want to get a monitor and a better mic.
Yeah. I would definitely, if you do a lot of video, definitely get a mic because you can get them pretty cheap.
Oh yeah.
You don't have to get the Rode or anything. You get like the deity mics. And then I would go
probably
with
honestly,
another lens, like a nice zoom. And then a couple primes, and then batteries, and then grips, and then
That's actually the big
sliders.
That's the biggest thing is batteries. You got to buy it. It's not great for battery life.
Yeah, that's the biggest criticism that I know of Fujifilm is the battery life is just like not that good.
It's because they use it. It's the same battery for all of their cameras.
Yeah.
And
Just buy like 10 of them, dude. Just drop the dough.
fine. It's fine, but it's like
No, that's a tiny little fucker.
yeah. Like go compare this to like an MPF from Sony or something. Like yeah, get the fuck out of here.
Yeah. No, you're just gonna have to buy extra It's nice that it's light though, and it's nice that you can carry a bunch of batteries.
The body itself is like 330 grams.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Like it's super fucking light. But for carrying it around, that's awesome. For video, I do want to get like a little monopod setup just to add some weight, basically.
Nice.
Then yeah, there's a whole lot of lenses that I want to get. There's
an upgrade path. They have the new medium format upgrade path. So if you ever wanted to jump to medium format, you could.
Yeah, we'll see about that. It depends, because if I got more serious into it, it'd probably be video, and I'd probably go in a more Canon direction if Canon can ever figure out what the fuck they want to do in life.
Yeah.
Because on the low end, don't buy Canon at the moment, in my opinion.
No, I mean you can essentially get the full frame RP if you want full frame photo.
Yeah, but
you
don't
want
buy
video.
it because you can't use fit for video at all, basically.
No.
Because
you would have
if
to
you
wait.
use if you use anything other than R, you can't do 1080, and you can't do 1080 25 anyway.
Yeah.
So spend twice as much as you did for one lens that you did for the camera to be able to even shoot 1080. Get out of here. But no, I think I'd go more down the Canon line. That is something I want to get for this too. Is actually, the biggest downside to Fuji is they don't really they try to do a closed ecosystem, which is kind of to their benefit, but it kind of sucks. They don't give like Sigma and the rest of those guys, they don't give them their autofocus, which sucks, to be honest. But it does make sense because their actual lenses are good enough. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But it does suck because
it does suck though.
Sigma just came out with that really nice set of primes.
I forgot about that. I forgot that Fuji really doesn't have. No one else really makes a Fuji mount.
They make Fuji mounts. They just don't make them with autofocus.
Yeah.
Because they don't let them have autofocus really. But there is one company basically that makes a really fucking good lens adapter. It's not going to be a full. It's not going to be a speed booster, but it's about $300, and it's actually like the autofocus works on it like perfect.
And you can adapt any lens on it.
Almost any Canon EF lens, or EFS, EF. Like you can get access to most of that, and they keep updating the firmware and adding and testing lenses and making sure they change little firmware things to make sure it works and stuff like that.
Oh, that's good then.
That's interesting to me too, because that one, like they somehow figured it out.
I mean, if you have full frame lenses on there, you wouldn't really need the speed booster anyway.
Right. But I'm really happy with it. There's a lot of shit I want for it. There's a lot of shit I don't. But the other side of Fuji not letting anyone have their own stuff, they have a lot of really good glass. And something I kind of like that I've figured out that I really like about them, they're almost pulling kind of like a Steve Jobs Apple route to me. Like they just make APS-C and medium format. That's it. You know what I mean? So all of their glass R&Ds just to those two things. And they're doing some really sick things with those. They actually have they showed it at Photokina last year, but they have what equates to a 49.5 or 50 mil prime at f1 in the works.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Like, sure, dude.
Yeah, I don't know what is that, like a
frame.
1.4 full frame equivalent, which is about I think 1. Maybe even 1.2. I'm not exactly sure.
Yeah, aperture is really weird when it comes to like that equation, because if you follow Tony Northrup, he thinks he's got it figured out, but everyone else doesn't think he's got it figured out.
Yeah. It's probably like a 1.2, I would assume.
But even still, then you're like, cool, you got a 50 and like a 1.2.
Yeah.
Even to a 1.4, but like
it'd probably be so expensive.
See, that's the it might be and it might not be. That's the weird thing about, and then they might eventually release a cheaper version of it, because that's what Fuji does with a lot of their primes. Is they have the f2 line for $400, and then they have the 1.2 1.4 line, which is about $600. But none of their primes are actually super expensive.
No.
Like,
and it is a
really
Fuji,
cool.
so you do kind of want to get the primes. I mean, they have the 16 to 55, 2.8, which is nice. I like, because I just do a lot of video, and I don't want to bother with swapping out lenses all the time.
You want more of the zooms.
Yeah.
And
10 to 24 f4, which would be good for vlogging.
Yep. Nope. That's an eventual want, but we'll see. But at the same time, with the 10 to 24, I think it's a really good lens. I'm less interested in it, because if I were to ever get to that point of vlogging that often that I felt I had to spend $1,000 on the 10 to 24, I'd just go buy a different camera.
Yeah, you think? I guess that makes sense. It is a lot of money.
And then just keep this as like the perfect travel camera and studio camera.
Yeah.
That's what I think of this. It's like a good little studio camera, but also travel cam.
Well, it's going to take really good pictures. I mean, it's mainly a photo camera. So you're gonna get really, really nice colors. You're gonna get all the Fuji like weird little picture profiles.
And they're really nice, actually. It's a little bit of a mess going through the menus, but on top
the
of
8 to 16. That's the new one that they just released.
yeah, that one I'm not super impressed with, actually. It's really, really good, but I'm not because I've been looking that up a lot and like reviews for it. I'm not impressed enough.
It's $2
versus-
grand.
Well, yeah, no, it's $2,000, but it's the issue that Lens has at the moment is, yeah, it's $2,000 and it's really not much better or very different than the 10 to 24.
Yeah.
So why would you buy that when you can buy two 10 to 24s?
Yeah, I would go 10 to 24 for like any sort of vlogging or landscape or anything like that. I mean, it's just gonna be a good like all around video camera, or video lens. But if you did want to like really get to the vlogging scene, then the 8 to 16 could be nice. But it seems gigantic. It might not be a good vlogging lens.
The 18 to 55?
The 8 to 16.
Oh, the 8 to 16 is huge. Yeah. No, that's what I'm saying is like well, the other thing too, the 8 to 16 does not have image stabilization. The 10 to 24 does.
Ah, never mind then.
Yeah. So no, like that's what I'm like. There's a lot of things that the 8 to 16 does really good and it's really sharp, but it's not worth the price of the 10 to 24 to me at all.
All right.
But yeah, they have a lot of cool primes. They're doing a lot of cool stuff. I'm happy with it so far.
I want to see some
Image quality is really
stuff. I want to
like,
see
for
some,
under
I
a
want to
grand-
see some Jerry videos on the channel.
You'll get some soon. I've been trying to cut together a bunch of like tests and stuff. Because really, honestly, the autofocus is really surprising to me.
Yeah.
Like it's really good.
No, it is. They have a good autofocus system.
And it works in 4K with no crop. And it works amazingly.
All right. Google Pixel 3a. What do you think of this phone, dude? Doobie, if you hear us.
Doobie, come back for the phones. Because you were talking about this earlier.
Have you seen these phones yet?
I have not seen really anything in phones lately. I don't think I saw last was the S10 Plus or whatever it is, and the Note 9.
Okay. The Google released a new phone, a cheap phone. It's $400. It essentially
Mid-range. It's not cheap. It's mid-range.
mid-range. I would say it's pretty cheap. $400. What's?
No, it's mid-range. Get out of Apple world in the last 2 years of pricing where everything skyrocketed to $800. No, this is mid-range.
Well, what's a cheap phone? Like $200?
Yeah, and there's a ton of those if you actually want to go in that world.
All right. Well, this is a mid-range phone, I guess.
I would consider it mid-range. Yeah.
What's the price? $16 a month? It's pretty low. That's pretty low. 24 months?
No, not to me. Not to me, because again, I'm paying less than $10 for an iPhone.
Yeah.
That's mid-range to me.
Yeah, but that's also an $800 phone.
Yeah. I didn't pay $800 for it. I paid about what the Google Pixel 3a cost for it.
Okay. Yeah, I actually think there's a deal right now on Apple. The XR is like $450. But what do you think about the Pixel 3a?
Honestly, I want to buy one for my parents.
I think it's a pretty fucking awesome little phone.
Yeah. I would buy this over the Pixel 3 at the moment.
Yeah.
But I will say, there are qualms to this. It is a mid-range phone, and there's nothing wrong with mid-range phones. This will eventually die on you. It's not going to last as long as some of the other phones, and that's mostly just because of the processor. And
It's got a shitty processor in it.
it's got a really shitty processor in it, and it's Android. That's not always a match made in heaven.
Yeah. What is the exact processor on it? Let me look at the specs.
It was a 670, if I remember right.
Snapdragon 670, which is what, a year old now?
And it's a mid-range. It's a mid-range processor.
Mid-range processor. It's a year old.
It's fine.
It's gonna run the new Android Pie.
Yeah, it's the definition of fine. For $400, it's completely acceptable.
It has a headphone jack, Doobie.
It does have a headphone jack.
It's plastic, so you don't have to worry about it like shattering.
If
I
I
never
remember it
dropped
though,
So
I don't think you can add storage to it though.
That's a big thing for me is having additional.
Yeah,
storage.
I don't think you can add storage to it.
Yeah, I don't know.
What
If,
are the-
I don't know if I
what are
would
the-
suggest this to Doobie, but like for me, I want to buy these for my parents because they are the people who like try to spend as little as possible on phones still and like use them for as long as possible. Like I think they're both using like 4-year-old $200 Samsung phones right now.
Mhm.
And the biggest thing, especially my mom, that they always bitch about is the camera. And it's just like, or you can buy a $400 phone that has a stupidly good camera for $400 phone.
Yeah, it beats out a lot of other phones way above its price range.
That's the big thing about this phone to me is like,
The
no,
video is so bad though.
true, but
I don't know
it's
why their video is so bad.
it's $400.
Yeah.
It's one of those things where it's like, yeah, the video is pretty bad, but it's gonna last. It's gonna be fine. You don't have your wireless charging. Who cares? It still has fast charging. It's looks good.
It's got a
It's a
headphone
good
jack,
screen.
which is awesome.
It's got a headphone jack. Like this is like, but
Does not come with headphones though.
so what?
I know.
You don't need it to come with headphones because it has a jack
Yeah, you don't have to buy USB-C headphones.
or some other dongle or this or that. Yeah,
I wonder if you could still use a dongle with it.
yeah.
I wonder
I
if,
mean,
if it's possible.
Bluetooth, so yeah.
No, yeah. No, it's possible.
It would be
'Cause
Bluetooth.
I use my stupid dongle on my iPad and all the other shit, and like also old stuff all the fucking time. They also work.
Yeah. I don't know. I think it's
Mostly.
I thought it was a pretty interesting offering. The Google I/O keynote where they released the phone, I thought was a little bit kind of boring. There wasn't much
I thought some of
going
it was
on.
really cool, actually. I'm gonna pick-
What in particular?
No, they're doing a lot of stuff more towards what I'm more interested in. Like a lot of the stuff that was really cool to me was figuring out closed captions in the phone and having that figured out. And some of the other things they've worked with, like they did last year for like the voice talking and stuff like that. Some of it was really boring, but they said a couple of things there which were really big to me. Is a lot of those features that they've been working on the last 2 years that everyone's been freaking out privacy wise. Did you notice when they said all of those are going to be small packages only on the phone?
Yeah, that was one of the big things that I took away from it.
That's a big thing to me is that they're all of this machine learning stuff. They are just starting to
The on device.
thankfully just keep it on device
Yeah.
and it doesn't leave the device, which that to me is huge. That's actually a huge story to me.
I think they have to go that way.
No, they do.
Like
and I-
anyone else, I don't think between Google and Apple, they both have to do it that way, just because
Yeah.
of how massive they are.
Well, it's that too, but like that's something. That's why when we always get into those like
I thought the updates through the Play Store was pretty interesting.
they've
I
been trying to
remember-
do that. They've been trying to do that for a couple of years now.
Yeah, I remember updates on Android were just so annoying because you would never get them. I mean, when was the last time you got? Do you have the newest update on your phone, Doobie?
What's up?
Do you have the newest update on your phone?
Yeah, and it broke my theme, so I had to like download a new theme and stuff because how it changed. Yeah, like it was setting it so that my old theme, the text was black on a black background, and I couldn't read a damn thing in my text messages.
Well, hey, you wouldn't have that problem if you switched to iPhone and just can't even have a theme.
Yeah.
Oh man, I need to upgrade by downgrading.
Or you just go to Google and then you just get the stock theme, which is the best anyway.
Yeah.
I like mine. It's like a tie-dye theme.
Okay.
I'm way hippie with it.
All right, well, this is the Google phone. I'm gonna call it a low price phone. I think $400 is pretty low, and it's got some good features with it.
It's on the upper end of low price.
Yeah, to me, it's still more mid range because it's $400 for the 3A.
I haven't spent
if you get the
lower
plus
than
it gets
that on a
more
phone in years.
I mean, I have, but
I would say
I
it's the
actually
low
no, I haven't. This iPhone's been the most expensive phone I've bought, and I still bought this half off.
Yeah.
This is the most expensive phone I've ever bought in my life.
Shop smart.
I don't remember the last time I spent that much or that low on a phone. Maybe since fucking flip phones were around. The last phone I really remember being lower price was the iPhone 5, and even then it was pretty expensive.
I think the 4S when I bought that, maybe.
Well, no, they weren't like no, because this is my argument. This is why this is to me is mid range, is because until a couple 3 years ago with like the 7 or whatever, or maybe the 8, it was mostly
The Note 8 and the
the notes were more expensive. But I'm saying sorry, I'm speaking of iPhone, like iPhone 7, iPhone 8. It was more the 8. Until then, it was like no, your high end phones like 600 or 700, and then 2 years ago it jumped to no, your high end phone's $1,000, $1,200. That was massive fucking price jump.
Yeah.
So to me, a $450 phone for like the Plus, that's mid range. It should still be an $800 phone is like your very top end, not 1,200 plus.
If you want a foldable phone, chill out $2,000.
Exactly.
And I do want a foldable phone so bad.
Just ready to break a new 3 weeks in.
I have to wait. Unfortunately.
Everything's gonna be foldable now.
All right, well, Doobie, there's one more phone that just got released.
I'm gonna buy this for my parents. I like swear, and it's just because of the camera.
Well, now there's the OnePlus 7 Pro, which is $669, and I saw the reviews.
Big price jump, to be honest, from OnePlus.
Yes, they're all gonna jump. It's just where it's going. But this phone is fucking badass. No, I really like this phone.
The main phone is now $700. The last model was $570. That's a big price jump.
Yeah, the 6T right now is $550. You can get it for $550.
And it came out at like $580. That's a big price jump.
It was like $100.
Yeah, but like the main version went from $580 to $700. So yeah, it's like $120. That's a pretty good price jump. Versus OnePlus, which was always $500 or usually less, and now it's $700.
Yeah,
this seems like a really good competitor to like the S line.
And it is.
You're getting a full screen. There's no notches. I love the full screen look. I think it looks so clean. So if you watch a lot of content on your phone, it's just really appealing. It has HDR10, which is insane on this panel. I'm sure it's got an excellent brightness. I don't know the exact specs on the brightness.
Snapdragon.
It's got a 90 hertz refresh rate, so it's not
nice.
just. I mean, that's just
nice.
butter, baby. Up to 12 gigs of RAM. You're getting a 48 megapixel camera in the main lens, which is a triple camera lens. That's fucking nuts. It's got warp charge, which says it charges in 20 minutes. They were showing the fingerprint sensor, and it's faster than everyone's in-screen fingerprint sensor by a pretty big margin.
I hope it's faster than their last one, because their last one at the first attempt was kind of cool, but it felt janky.
Yeah, it's way faster. It's faster than everything.
So I almost bought the 6T over this.
It has liquid cooling.
Does it?
Probably doesn't. Not the fucking vapor chamber.
10-layer liquid cooling system.
There you go. It's got liquid cooling. Dude, that's a big thing.
It's a vapor chamber.
If you play a lot of games, your phone gets hot as fuck. It'd be awesome if they can figure out how to cool that shit a lot better. 4x4 MIMO connectivity.
And the screen is fucking gorgeous.
It's got an excellent screen.
We will see. And dude, honestly, the 6T screen was gorgeous. This one looks even better.
Yeah, full AMOLED screen. It's got a P3 color gamut ratio. It's got HDR. It's got a 516 PPI, 1440p resolution. Or 3540 or 3120 by 1440p,
which is also a big jump because they've always done 1080 screens. That was the calling card because their 1080 is good enough.
Yeah,
and it was good enough, so it saved battery life.
Oh, now they have a much higher res screen.
Right, so we'll see how that affects battery life because that was one of the things that set OnePlus apart was trying to keep good battery life and quick charging.
Yeah, I mean it's probably going to take a little bit of a hit on your battery. But you could probably get all day. You could probably get all day with it. I don't know many flagship phones that don't get at least a day. At least until you get home and then you have to put it on the charger before you go to bed.
It is a very pretty phone. I'm very interested to see how this.
Does it have a headphone jack?
No.
No, it doesn't have a headphone jack. You're gonna need the dongle.
You think the Note's gonna come out with a headphone jack?
The Note 10 probably won't.
I think it might, dude. I think Samsung is not going to give up that headphone jack. They know that's a huge
they have
seller.
on all their other phones?
Well, they have him on the Note, right? They have him on the Note. Do they have him on the Galaxy?
The Note 8 has it,
Has them.
but I don't know about the Note 9.
Let me
I
check.
don't think so.
I thought that was a Samsung thing, was to keep the headphone jack.
They might have it on the 9. I think they have it on the 9.
This has expendable storage, right?
OnePlus, I don't remember.
I'm looking at it says storage 128 gig dash 256 gig UFS.
Yeah, Samsung is still rocking the headphone jack on their phones.
That's good.
Okay, cool. That's the thing is, like, if I wasn't such a Note fan, where like I really like having, and I am one of the people that actually do, like, I do use the pen.
You like the phablet?
I like the phablet. I like having the S Pen. I think it's one of the things I really like, which is why I won't go for the S line because they don't have it.
I'm just doing my best to try to get you off of the Samsung line.
Yeah, me
I
too.
don't think I'm going to.
I know you probably won't. They offer a lot of features, but I promise you,
Okay,
the features
also-
they offer them because the phone
I
itself
will-
is not very good.
I will
Yes.
say, if I wasn't happy with the Samsung line, I would probably jump to this.
Well, this also, how big is your phone, Doobie? How big is the Note?
Check it.
I don't know.
Isn't it a 6.5-inch screen?
It's a massive. What is
I'm
it?
pretty sure it's
The
a
Note 8?
6.5-inch screen.
Note 8, yeah. The screen size on Note 8.
6.3 inches.
6.3?
Yeah.
Okay, Doobie. This phone will be smaller in a 6.67.
Yeah, you get more screen.
The screen is bigger on this phone than yours.
I'm due for an upgrade.
And it's a smaller package.
No, this is bigger than the Note 9 screen.
And it runs their Oxygen OS, which is a far more superior OS than Samsung's terrible OS. That's the one reason why I don't want you using Samsung, because the operating
their
system
OS
is terrible.
sucks ass. No, the new one. Okay, no. Credit where credit is due. Their new version, the non-touch whiz thing on the new S10s or whatever, is actually a lot better.
Yeah, it
But
looks
I
like
still-
it's getting better.
I just don't trust.
Now, the
it.
one thing
I've
that
had 10 years of touch whiz bullshit.
if the Note comes with expandable storage, will that be the thing that push you to stay with the Note, other than any other phone?
Expandable storage is probably like one of my top 3 things I look for in a phone.
Yeah, I completely understand that. That's a huge pro.
I don't, but that's each their own.
I'm just not a person that like wants to rely on keeping everything in a cloud or keeping everything where I have to be online to get access to it.
And
There's a lot of times where I wish that I had expandable storage, because there's movies and shit that I wish I had when I travel, and then I have no internet and then I can't watch it.
And that's
They're
fair.
going
That's
to
fair. I'm just saying that is no. I don't fucking watch movies on this. I don't keep huge music libraries. I don't do any of this. I'm like, cool. I got 5 albums and a bunch of podcasts downloaded. I'm fucking set.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So like, no.
But I
having
also
more than
think maybe that we're
120
more
days, I don't give a shit.
I think maybe we're also conditioned to work around that limitation as well. Because
Well,
now it's just a thing. Like, before I travel, I have to sit on Netflix and download like 6 movies, and you know what I mean?
there is that. Well, yeah, for that, I'm a little bit, because if I'm gonna fly, I'm not gonna have service, obviously,
Yeah.
or like good Wi-Fi. Sure, I'm gonna download stuff for that, but like otherwise, I'm like, even with this beautiful, nice giant screen, again, I have an iPad. I'm gonna put it on the iPad if I want to watch a movie or something else. Like I'm not a person. I don't use that much storage on my phone, because the only thing I would use storage.
He doesn't
for
have an iPad. He's a
True.
phablet. He's a phablet life.
And and I understand that, but what I was gonna say is even then I still don't use it. My iPad's smaller than this thing is, actually, storage wise.
Well, if you have one device that's kind of like your all device, I mean, I guess you do want that expandable storage.
You would.
It's kind of like a hard drive.
I get it. I'm not trying to argue against it. I'm just saying there are other people like me where it's like to me that's not a selling point, because I don't even have games on this thing, because I'm not going to play a game on my phone. Like, you know what I mean? The only thing my phone storage goes to is pictures and videos, which I do want more storage for. But again, I just back I back up everything to the.
I don't take a lot of photos and things like that. Like that's not what I do. So that my uses for a phone and what you use for a phone are different things.
Exactly.
Dude,
And
I think when you get,
fine.
I think if you go to the store and you see this OnePlus 7 next to
Nice.
a Samsung and you see this 90 hertz refresh rate, I think you're gonna
and you
push
start playing
over.
with it, yeah.
That 90 hertz is huge.
I'm probably gonna wait and see what the Note 10 looks like first.
Yeah,
And
definitely.
I think that's fair. Yeah, that's fair.
Wait for the Note 10, and then
It's like-
I would highly recommend you check out this OnePlus 7 because it's a badass Android phone. I think it's one of the
especially if you don't-
strongest in the series.
Yeah, and especially if you don't take a ton of pictures, because I will say, this camera, the OnePlus camera, it's adequate. But don't buy this phone for the camera. Basically, you buy it for how nice the actual phone is with the screen and everything.
I think ever since Snapchat, like at this point years ago, because it feels like it's been years ago, since they changed up what how they do their whole thing with stories and everything like that, I fucking deleted it off my phone and I just don't take pictures.
It has a pop-up camera, front-facing camera.
Yeah, we'll see how that's the thing I'm
And
most.
if
I
you
did.
drop it,
I
if you
saw
drop
it.
it, it automatically knows it's falling and it'll slap the camera to go inside the phone so it doesn't break the camera.
I think I did see a commercial for this or something on like YouTube because
Yeah.
I am very curious to see the longevity of that camera. That's the only thing that I'm worried
Dude,
about.
these
Wait,
pictures that they're highlighting on their website look really good. I don't know if it's I don't know if it's
Of course it's gonna look
I don't know
good.
if they're using some
Like,
extra hardware here, but god damn, they don't look bad at all.
Charge. They try to sound like they're from Star Trek.
Yeah, the telephoto
No,
looks like
no, go look-
trash.
No, I went through a couple of reviews that are already up, going through pictures. It's not a bad camera, but I'm just saying that is like,
Compared to like an iPhone or a Google, it's just not even.
oh yeah, that's what I was going to do. Like they compared it a lot to a Samsung S10e, which is about the same price, and that's a fair comparison to me. So the S10e is the cheaper of the Samsungs, and they're about the same.
Yeah.
But like, yeah, if you compare that to like a Pixel 3 or an iPhone XS, yeah, it's not as good, but it's totally adequate. But
I want to see this
buy it.
phone, man. This phone appeals to me. This phone really does appeal to me. I wish that it had a better camera and a better video camera, more specifically. But I love what OnePlus is doing. They're killing it right now. Their few releases have been awesome. And at $669, oh my god, this is a dope phone.
You're not going to buy the 669 one though.
No,
Buy the
probably not.
$700 one at minimum with the 8 gigs. But
What color do I get? Do I get blue or black? Or
you
do I
go
get
in,
almond?
the almond looks cool to me actually, but no, you go and buy the Nebula Blue for 750 because it's got the 12 gigs of RAM and 256 gigs of storage.
Yeah.
Which is what I would go with if I were
Yeah.
buying.
$750, which will be a hell of a lot cheaper than whatever the Note 10 is going to release at.
Note 10 will probably release, I guarantee you, at a minimum of 1,200.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's a fab. I mean, it's a completely different sort of device.
Yeah.
But
I
is
think-
it though now?
No, you're right. I think the amount of screen size that you're getting
It's
nowadays,
the same as this phone.
yeah, they're gonna
It's
have to
actually
make
small.
the.
It's technically smaller than this phone. That's my argument. Where it's like,
For the Note 9, yeah. I don't know the Note 10
Yeah, the
size.
Note 10 will be a lot.
And
it'll
the
be
Note-
bigger, but
it will
I
be
don't
bigger.
think
I
it'll
don't
be
think
that
it's
much of a
bigger.
difference. Yeah, I don't think
No,
it'll
yeah.
be that much of a difference.
I saw
think-
some like leaks, but nobody really knows.
It'll be
No,
a
I
little
think-
bit bigger, but
I
that's
think
about
it'll
it.
be. I don't think it'll be that much bigger. I think it'll be pretty comparable. Because I've looked at old OnePluses. OnePlus makes big phones in the first place, like compared to everyone else.
Yeah, like
So, like,
a 6.5
it's-
inch screen's huge.
You know, like the even though 6T, it is a phablet. You know, this phone is a phablet. That type of idea. Like, no, go put this next to a Note. They're the same fucking size, body wise. Like
The
they
biggest
really
thing
are.
for me is that refresh. The refresh. That's so fucking like the iPad, how it has the 120. I mean, it makes a world of difference. If I can get that on a phone with a really good camera, you got me sold. You got me sold. But there's your new phone options, Doobie. Thank you for joining us for the phone segment. I'm curious to see. I can't wait for you to leave the Samsung life because I know it's enticing with all their crazy features. But there's a bigger world out there for
I
you.
hate all their features so much.
There's a
I'm
bigger
sorry.
world out there for you, Doobie.
All of their features are just janky pieces of crap. I'm sorry.
All right. Instagram was hiding their likes in Canada, which is awesome. I want them to bring it everywhere. Hide all the likes. You don't need to see them. No one needs to see your likes. I wish they could give you an option to do it. I would turn mine off.
But how are you going to sell ads if you don't have metrics?
Well, you get metrics. You can see them. Just other people can't see your
then
metrics.
That's fair to me. I
Yeah.
like that idea.
So you can't be like, damn, why didn't my photo get as many as Christie's photo? You know what I
Right.
mean? You just don't know that. You know how many you got, and it doesn't make that much of a difference because you know how many you got.
And like it won't affect the algorithm.
Right.
You'll still see whatever is actually being liked the most or whatever.
Yeah.
But then you just
But
go,
it's definitely a step, and it's definitely that cognitive thing that I think needs to happen. And if Twitter does it, and if Facebook does it, and they start removing the dislike bar, I think that'll be a big thing for public health.
I do too. I think like Reddit's the only place that should have a downvote button.
Right. I completely agree. Lenovo released a foldable PC. Did you see this fucking thing?
It's interesting. I was more interested in other things Lenovo did in the last week, but yeah, no, now they're trying to do this.
I'm in the foldable life. Once I saw these foldable phones, now I want everything to be foldable.
I don't
except a laptop.
I definitely don't want a laptop. That's been my argument against Apple trying to make your fucking stupid keyboard even worse.
It has to be. You have to be able to feel home row. If they can figure out how you can do a touch screen keyboard, but you can feel home row, then I'm happy. Just give me haptic feedbacks. They can get it close enough for me. But
then
we're not there yet.
You still have to miss a key to find your haptic feedback home row.
That's what I'm saying. Like there has to be a way where you lay your hands on it, you know that you're on home row. And who knows? Who knows if they're gonna get there? A laptop is definitely not the best use case for a foldable device, but I kind of get it. You know, I just want everything to be foldable. I want this foldable thing to be pushed further. We need to get better foldables.
Okay, I'll agree with that once it gets better. Once the actual technology behind it gets better, I can agree.
I mean,
gonna...
my goal is to have an iPhone that folds out to an iPad. That's the dream.
I care less about that, but what I want is I want foldable monitors. I don't want it to be an iPad or an iPhone. I want to be able to have like a to-go monitor that I can just fold in half and throw in my bag, and I can get to the coffee shop, take it out, unfold it, and here's like a display I can just set there and plug my laptop in with.
Mm-hmm.
Like that would be sick to me more than my laptop folds in half with two screens now, because laptops already fold in half.
No, yeah, but I'm thinking like not having a need for two more devices. Give me one device for everything, and I'm a happy man.
That's fair.
An origami device where you can use it as a phone, and it's thin. You know what I mean? Like it's thin like a phone, but then you fold it open, then it's an iPad, and then you fold it open again, and then it's a fucking gigantic computer system. That's the dream. I just want one fucking device. But
maybe you'll eventually see that. For me, I'm
the foldable laptop is not.
No,
I don't think it's.
No.
It's cool. It's cool. It runs Windows.
It's not that cool. I'm sorry.
It's pretty cool. It's pretty cool. We haven't seen this kind of stuff yet. This is the kind of stuff that I enjoy.
And I like parts of it. I almost want it to fold again. I still want there to be
so it's gigantic.
Well, no. I'm thinking I want that to be the screen and it folds this way, but underneath it there's also a keyboard that splits in half and folds with it.
Yeah.
So then you unfold it like that, and you still have an actual keyboard, and that's just your screen. You're not
have it fold
screen in half for a shitty keyboard.
Yeah, or have it fold the other way, and then you can have a tablet that folds out to a bigger tablet device that you could just plug a mini keyboard into or something.
Yeah, or that. Yeah. I just don't want to type on the screen. I want my screen to be bigger, not smaller, because now I have to also add a keyboard to it.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know how they're going to try to figure out like an on-screen keyboard, but it's got to have that feel like as soon as you put your hands on home row, you know that you're there. If they can't figure that out, then I'll never be on board with an on-screen keyboard. And I don't know how you do that. I don't know how that's going to even work.
To me, I really just want one a little bit bigger than this, that's just it. All it is a monitor. It's just a USB-C monitor.
They
that I
have
can
monitors now that they don't fold, but
No, they don't fold. Like, and I know I use some travel monitors and I like some of them, but my dream is like sick. Here's like a 16-inch travel monitor that folds up into like a 5-inch square that I can throw in or rectangle I can throw in my bag.
plug a Mac Mini into.
Not even a Mac Mini. I just mean like cool. I can take it somewhere to like a coffee shop, and then when I'm doing my programming work on my laptop, I can still have an extra screen.
Mm-hmm.
Because for a lot of my workflows, I do want multiple screens, and it would be cool if it's like, I can just bam. There's
a laptop that just folds out with another screen on the side.
Yeah, that doesn't look dumb and bulky.
It's gonna.
It's gonna. I know.
But I could see it where you fold it out and then you fold the inside out, so it's like a nice, almost like a 21:9. You know what I mean? That'd be kind of cool.
But that's why I'd rather just have it be an extra monitor like that. Like that's like the perfect size where it's like cool. I can just unfold it. Now I have 2 laptop screens.
Yeah.
We work on. You know what I mean? And then when I don't need to use it, I don't need it. I don't have to have the extra weight, but when I do, I can actually have 2 screens doing a lot of work. That would be cool to me.
All right, Odyssey is getting into the gaming headphone game with their LCD. Yes, the LCD GX, which is essentially their Odyssey LCD line with a microphone attachment thing meant for audiophile gaming. It's $900, so it's going to run you close to $1,000 for these headphones. And you might laugh at it, but Odyssey literally makes some of the best headphones in the world. And for them to specifically target gaming makes me very, very interested. And I want them to further go this route and have dedicated headphones for gaming, because they are different. Gaming headphones, the sound signature doesn't need to be flat. It doesn't need to be perfect, like with music or with vocals and stuff. Gaming, you want like fast headphones that can reproduce really fast imaging and have really wide sound stage, as well as like a mic.
Yeah, they saw all that money Sennheiser's making. Yeah. And decided they needed to get in. The issue is I think this is really cool, but this is more like you just stuck a mod mic onto good headphones.
That's essentially what they did. And I'm curious to know the sound stage. I don't know if it's tuned any differently.
And no, there's nothing wrong with that. That's a cool product to me. Yeah. It's going to be a good set of headphones. But I do think if they want to get serious about it, it's going to be like Sennheiser did. They're going to come out with a $300 pair of actual gaming headphones or something.
Yeah. Yeah, these are super niche. I mean, $1,000, you might as well just go with an LCD headphone and then get a mod mic. But I do want them to get more into the gaming, specific gaming sound signatures, because they are very, very different. And it's something that, like, if you're looking for headphones and you play a lot of games, you need to factor that in. You can't just rely on, like, how do these headphones sound with music? You need to listen to them in game, because there's difference. There's like, Beats headphones are terrible for music, but they're great for gaming because of how boomy they are and how fast those drivers are. They work really good for gaming. And some headphones work really, really good for music and are poor for gaming. Like a lot of really high treble headphones with a lot of clarity, like what's a headphone like that? Like the MX 50s are kind of that way as well. Like they're really not that good for gaming. They're good for listening and kind of reference, but for gaming they're a little slow.
Right, and then for gaming you want speed and bass boost basically, and then you want
them open. You want to be able to hear space between.
Well, that's what I was saying. You want something that has some 7.1 virtualization in it or something like that, more than you want it to actually be accurate.
Yeah. And then Apple released the Power Beats Pro, and I'm definitely checking these bad boys out. My AirPods are due for an update, and this is essentially, they're water resistant. They have the Beats sound signature. They're completely wireless, but they have the chip in it. They're pretty cool, and they look nice too. So I'm very curious with these headphones.
Let me know how those go, because like that, I'm more willing to pay for these than the AirPods.
Yeah,
if they have the sound quality to back it up.
From what I'm hearing, they sound way better than the AirPods. But I want to hear for myself, because I'm not the biggest fan of Beats' sound signature. So I want to hear it. I want to
not
see how it
either.
goes.
But I still get a little bit more than generic Apple sound signature.
Yeah. And then finally, the Supreme Court has allowed the monopoly lawsuit against Apple to move forward. The Supreme Court is letting an antitrust lawsuit against Apple proceed, and it's rejected Apple's argument that the iOS App Store users aren't really its customers. The Supreme Court upheld the Ninth Circuit Court of Appeals' decision in the Apple versus Pepper, agreeing in a 5-4 decision that Apple buyers could sue the company for allegedly driving up prices. Quote, Apple's line drawing does not make a lot of sense other than a way to gerrymander Apple out of this and similar lawsuits, wrote Justice Brett Kavanaugh. Apple had claimed that iOS users were technically buying apps from developers, while developers themselves were Apple's App Store customer. According to an earlier legal doctrine known as Illinois BRIC, indirect purchasers of a product don't have the standing to file antitrust cases. But in today's decision, the Supreme Court determined that this logic doesn't apply to Apple. And then Apple made a statement. Today's decision means plaintiffs can proceed with their case in district court. We're confident we will prevail when the facts are presented and that the App Store is not a monopoly by any metric. We're proud to have created the safest, most secure and trusted platform for customers and a great business opportunity for all developers around the world. Developers set prices they want to charge for their app, and Apple has no role in that. The vast majority of apps on the App Store are free, and Apple gets nothing from them. The only instance where Apple shares its revenue is if the developer chooses to sell digital services through the App Store. Developers have a number of platforms to choose from to deliver their software, from other app stores to smart TVs to gaming consoles, and we work very hard every day to make our store the best, safest, and most competitive in the world.
But
I do think Apple will win this lawsuit.
Probably, but their last thing is the crux of the issue. Developers have a number of other platforms to choose to deliver their software, from other app stores to smart TVs, blah, 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 blah. But if you wanted to sell it on Apple, there isn't one.
Yeah.
That's the crux of the issue. So yes, you can go sell it on Google, which is a completely different thing, or you can go sell it on a gaming console, which you're comparing to an iPhone store. Like, that's the crux of the issue, which is that's not as easy as of a fight as possible, I think.
Yeah, well, a lot of the argument is
just
that
the games. Sure, I guess you could argue go sell it on a Ouya, whatever that fucking failed product is.
the Ouya.
The Ouya. But like, to the rest, to me, I'm more interested in how this is going to affect a lot of things outside of like games, because I like the Apple App Store, but I've never been the fan of the walled garden.
Yeah. Here's a good way to kind of Apple vs. Pepper claims that requiring iOS users to buy apps through its official app store and charging developers a 30% commission, Apple is adding a mandatory fee that developers logically pass on to customers. A claim that a monopolistic retailer, here Apple, has used its monopoly to overcharge consumers is a classic antitrust claim, but Apple asserts that the iOS users in this case may not sue Apple because they supposedly were not, quote, direct purchasers, writes Kavanaugh. We disagree. The plaintiffs purchased apps directly from Apple and therefore are direct purchasers, where Apple is claiming that they're purchasing them from developers. So in that sense, it gets a little bit muddy, but I think Apple has a pretty easy case because, like they said, a lot of their most successful apps are free. It just becomes like a very sort of legalese sort of argument, and I just don't see how they would be able to lose this battle in that sense. It's their walled garden, it's their walled garden. They make it that way so their products, they can say, are the safest and most secure products, and that that's the whole draw of using the App Store and selling on an Apple device product, which makes it makes the argument for them a lot harder to go through.
But then at the same time, that still is like the definition of creating a monopoly over something, basically.
It does if it was only Apple. If Apple was the only, I mean, essentially in sales wise, you could argue that.
No,
in the
to
US.
sell a product on an iPhone, I have to go through the Apple Store.
I
When it
mean,
comes
it's essentially, but you don't have to. You could sell in other means.
I can't sell an app.
No, but you could sell your services and other means, and it's essentially not
Right,
essentially
but
not a monopoly.
No, but if I'm making an app, it's a literal definition of monopoly. If I am making a calculator app, no, I cannot put that on the iPhone any other way than the App Store.
Yeah, but there's other phones that you can put it on.
Right.
There's other
but-
stores that you can go on. I mean, it's just essentially not a monopoly.
No, it is, because it's the way I cannot code a Swift program and go put it on a Google phone. I cannot.
But you can put it on a Google phone.
No. I would have to program it completely differently.
Right. You still have
And
the
then
option to choose.
Then it's a different app.
But you still have the option to choose to choose other markets.
Yeah, I would have to make a completely different app to put it on a different market. If I want to put it on the Apple thing, I'd have to use Apple code on an Apple computer to then sell it on an Apple store.
Yeah, but I'm saying that there are other options. You don't have to sell on an Apple store.
And that's why I don't. But that's
not a monopoly then.
No, to me, that is. If you want to sell two Apple things, that's a monopoly. Apple has a monopoly over Apple products. They 100% do.
Yeah, but I don't see how that is it in itself a monopoly, because there's a whole market. You don't have to sell to Apple. You can sell to Android. You can sell to any other product.
You, from a production standpoint, it becomes a different product when I put it on other things. It's like if I'm going to build a table, it's not like I'm making it out of wood and building a table. It's like, for this, I have to make it out of this element. And for this, I have to make it out of this element. So then they start becoming fundamentally different elements.
But you could make a table. You could make a table out of wood. You don't have to make a table out of those elements. You could still make a table. You just don't need to use those elements. You know what I'm saying?
Okay, fair. Tomato. You don't program. It's okay.
I know. I'm just trying to understand your logic. I don't understand your logic.
You're right. You don't have to use those elements, but if you want to, you can't. And that to me is a monopoly.
Okay, I see what you're saying.
Like,
I see what you're saying.
If I had the desire, like, I want to build this thing and sell it here, you have to do it that way, or else you just can't.
Right.
And that's where that becomes kind of a monopoly to me. If I want, like, that's why there's a ton of apps on the App Store that aren't on any other platform. It's because it's a different thing. Like, that's where that comes down to me. Like, there's a ton of iPhone apps that I'm using. I can't get on Google because it's a different app. You have to build it completely differently, and sometimes you can't actually make it. So
you're saying because in order to make an Apple product for an Apple device, and you can't, if you want to make it for any other device you have to make it a different product, then Apple has a monopoly.
Right. Yeah. Like, I can't make a Java app and just put it on the App Store. I have to use the Apple version, which has different tool sets, but I can't go and make a Swift app and then just be like, well, cool, I'm going to put this on everything. That's going to the Apple Store. And that makes it have fundamentally like, go compare the Evernote app between the iPhone version and the Google version or any other version. They eventually fundamentally do the same thing.
So I guess my question is I guess this is my question. Should Apple be allowed to monopolize its own products?
And that,
like, if I'm making like a camera system and I make my own lenses for it that don't work on other camera lenses, like, do I essentially have a monopoly on my camera products? I do then. And I should be allowed to.
And no, and that is a different,
because it's essentially not really a monopoly, because I'm not hindering any other camera companies from making their own cameras and lenses, you know?
Okay, and that's fair. I see your point. I'm just saying my point of like,
No, I know what you mean. Like, in order to make an Apple product, you have to do it Apple's way, and you have to go through their app store where they have to charge you whatever it is that they have to charge you.
right, and it ends up being that creates them become a different product to me.
Yeah. And I completely understand the argument where it's like Apple is forcing you to go through their app store. I understand that argument. And that seems like what this antitrust lawsuit's about. You have to go through the app store and get charged a 30% commission.
Right. And I'm not saying, you know, I don't know. I don't have the answer to should they be allowed to have a monopoly or not. That's going to be put out onto the Supreme Court or wherever else, you know, now. Yeah. But to me, I am interested in following that because to me, I think there is a case on both sides, that there is arguments. It's not going to be just that one-sided.
Yeah.
It's still going to probably be mostly one-sided. I'm just trying to say what the opposite, there is an argument point on the other side against Apple there.
Yeah. I think what Apple is basically going to say is, look, you don't have to make products for the App Store. You know, the reason why it's so enticing is because look at these numbers. This is our sales growth. Everyone uses the Apple App Store, but they're going to run into the same problem that Windows ran into when they were sued for monopoly charges, like back in the 90s. And I think it's going to be interesting there because essentially, then they're going to have to open up. They're going to have to open up other app stores to be allowed on the iPhone, and I just don't think that the courts will see that they have to do that, especially if the crux of their products are privacy or whatever they claim. So it's going to be interesting. Because I do get it. Like, it sucks having to be charged 30%, which is crazy. But it's one of the reasons, like with the game stores, like with Steam and the Epic game stores, and that's why there's so much argument going on in there, is because there really aren't many options for game developers to go through other than Steam and then now Epic, and it's just causing such an uprise in consumer choice.
A lot of them, yeah.
It's just all down to consumer choice. It'd be more interesting as a consumer fight, which I'm assuming this isn't. I don't know exactly how this lawsuit is being held through.
Yeah, like that to me, there is solid arguments both ways. I was getting very animated and trying to explain what the other argument is.
Yeah,
but it's
I understand.
Because
Robert Pepper is the guy's name who's suing Apple.
To me, it sucks that I can go and literally make an application for literally any product at the moment, other than my goddamn phone.
Mm-hmm.
I can literally go and make it and put it on. I can go put it on anything other than this fucking phone.
Yeah, no, it makes sense. They all use the same essential backbone.
Well, it's not even so much that. It's just it's more open and easier, like, to put it that way.
Mm-hmm.
Like even testing things, you know, and stuff. I can go and make an Android app and put it on any Android device and just there we go. I'm free. You know what I mean? But if I want to make an iPhone app, I have to go buy an Apple computer and then go make an app to put it on your Apple phone.
Yeah.
And then anything else is like, okay, I can make an app that runs in Linux, Windows, Mac. I can make it run on my fucking PlayStation. I can make it run on every other phone. I can make it run on everything except this. It will even run on an Apple computer, but it won't run on this.
That's that walled garden, dude. Do you think inherently they should be allowed to do that?
Yeah, it's just also annoying as fuck. And I think there is a counter argument against that. But
yeah,
we'll see how that goes. Like, personally, I think they should be allowed to do that. And
what would be crossing the line? What would be crossing the line? What would, in your eyes, would be like, now it's infringing on other markets? What would be like the line in the sand where you're like, all right, Apple is definitely starting to try to infringe on other markets? It would be different if Apple
And that is a harder thing.
Like when Microsoft back in the 90s, the reason they were huge is they had like 95% market share. You literally had everything was Windows. There was nothing else. Where Apple today, it's high, but it's only in the US it's high, and it's really not even that high anymore.
Well, it's not high compared to Android, but it is still by far the highest for hardware.
Yeah, in the US.
Yeah. But it would still take quite a bit more. But if they were to keep going down like that kind of line of like, well, no, now Mac OS is only the Mac App Store, and you can only program it in Swift or some new language that only works on your MacBook, and that's the only apps that are allowed, and that's the only things that go on your phone.
Yeah.
Like if it starts getting to like that kind of world, that's where I would start being like,
because then they're taking a piece of the pie everywhere.
Yeah. Which is, again, there is argument saying that's okay, but it's also just like and it would again also go to market share. It's how much is that market share, because you can go to other options.
Yeah.
It's just like when on the phone, it's harder to me, because the other big counter argument is, while sure iOS has a really large percentage share, it's still less than Android. But if you look into what actually makes money and what people are going to want to do, it skewed Apple heavily.
What's interesting is in this specific lawsuit, the argument is that the cost, that extra 30% cost that Apple charges on the App Store that you have to go through, is logically passed on to the consumer.
Right.
And I'm curious to know if that is enough to claim that it's monopoly, if it's enough to claim that they're not allowed to do that. And it seems as if the Supreme Court agreed with him that this argument needs to be had in front of a court. And it's going to be interesting.
And I think I think that is fair, like, because that is the hardest part.
They also probably all use iPhones. You know what I mean? Yeah. They probably don't use anything else, but I don't know anything else that's out there.
But it's not even if they know it, other things or whatever, but it's that I think that's a fair argument, because in a perfect world that isn't an argument. You know, you'd hope the company would just eat the cost and be like a cool company, but every company passes on the charge.
Yeah. And like Apple's saying, like, look, you don't even have to make apps for our product if you don't want. If you don't want the charge,
but at the same time, if you go to Netflix, it just tells you to go to the website.
Yeah.
Just to sign up. Or if you go to Amazon, it tells you, no, stop using the app, just go buy it on the website.
Yeah.
Like things like that. And that's where you start looking at it like,
now, if they were to hinder them from that, then I would for sure be like, okay, now this is monopoly territory.
And that would be this is a battleground kind of, that would definitely be a crossing the line in the sand. But I can see how they're trying to make the arguments that it's getting closer to that.
Yeah.
Because that is a shitty thing where you start using your phone and it's literally, I'll open an app and go to buy something and it literally hit buy and it literally sends you to a different website.
Yeah. And
not out of the app, just to try to not charge you that extra price, or else they'll charge you the extra price and just pass it on to you.
Yeah.
Which is really fucking
inefficient.
Man,
if someone was smart, you would create some sort of store where you could sell your subscriptions for your apps that's separate from the App Store, but is linked to your app devices services. I wonder if that's already created. Then you could charge lower prices for apps, but you don't take any. There's no 30%. I wonder if that could be done.
They would probably crash down hard on you.
They would probably try to sue you, but then you could sue for monopoly charges.
Maybe that's how it started.
You could say they're trying to monopolize.
This is how the lawsuit started.
One last thing, the decision will also affect how much power consumers have over digital platforms. In 1998, a major appeals court ruling shot down concert goers who sued Ticketmaster for driving up ticket prices, saying that Ticketmaster was actually selling distribution services to concert venues. The Ninth Circuit's opinion explicitly says that the decision was wrong. So a favorable Supreme Court ruling wouldn't just keep this particular lawsuit alive. It could make other powerful online stores, or in Reuters' less charitable charitable estimation toll keepers more accountable toward their users. Yeah, this is a very interesting lawsuit, and we'll definitely keep you guys updated on this. But that's it. That's it for the show. That's all we got for you. We'll catch you guys next week. Jerry, hopefully we'll have some video content for us so we can check out his new camera.
I can do that.
Do some vlogging.
It works.
Do a move vlog, dude.
That's what. Well, yeah. Maybe doing that.
Do a move vlog, and then.
But at the same time, the biggest reason why I haven't put up anything, and I'm trying to do more and more tests, is while I am moving, I gotta go fucking shave. I gotta go like change my life. You do not want to see this face in beautiful 4K.
No, I want to see every fucking mole and hair, dude.
Let it be behind the 480 webcam.
The blurry 480 webcam. Yeah. Put it out of focus. All right, everyone. We'll catch y'all later. Peace.